Welcome one, welcome all to episode 226 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, May 4th, 2024. I am your host, Luke Lohr, the Insipid Ghost, once again joined by my co-host, the intrepid Captain Logan. And today we are here to discuss this summer's Xbox Showcase, which has just been announced with dates, and it looks to be one of the most incredible Xbox's shows in gaming history, which is pretty darn exciting, as Bethesda, Activision, and Xbox Game Studios will all be on display. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness to those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing all right. Hanging in there. Life is stressful, so I'm trying to make sure that I do some fun stuff for myself. I went out and played some pool last night.
Okay.
Pretty good. Had a good time with that. How are you?
I'm good, man. I've had a productive and difficult week. It took a while. Like I had that COVID cough that like hung on for a bit, you know?
Yeah.
But that's kind of fading away. We're getting into the most difficult time of school and teaching as it's testing time. Hold on, I gotta turn my light on. And there we go.
Oh,
there we go. It's gotta have that there.
Yeah.
But things are good. I want to give words of kindness to a couple people. To start off. And I want to be careful too, because last week I forgot to do our patrons, and I want to make sure I give them shout outs later on in the episode as well. But I have words of kindness to my wife, who has been stellar and amazing in helping me arrange for my summer trip, which I'm headed out to LA. And I'm really excited about that because I haven't been to LA for Summer Game Fest, Fan Fest, all these conventions, IGN Live I'm going to. I haven't done this in 5 years minimum. And so I'm really excited. I'm very nervous just because I get nervous for stuff. But she helped me do flights and hotels. So now it's very real, which is awesome. And that brings me to my other words of kindness, which head to Lord Cognito, who was on last week's episode. And, one of the Iron Lords, defining Duke, a legend, just a great dude. He helps me kind of get over the, hey, what if I don't get into FanFest? Should I still go? And he's like, yes, sign up for this event, do this event, sign up for this. He like pushed me to do it because he knew how much I wanted it, and I'm really excited for that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really stoked, really appreciative. I'm always careful about, because we're a show where people are patrons or channel members, they support us, right? When we made the jump into live, all the funding that we had saved up in the last few months helped us do that software transfer, computer transfer, tech transfer stuff. And then every dollar now is helping me get across the country. It's paying for hotel. It's paying for flights and food and stuff.
It's
so
expensive.
It's very expensive. And so I'm grateful to everybody that has chosen to support XEP one way or another. It goes towards things that help us, keep the lights on, content coming, et cetera. And now it's paying for a summer trip to bump elbows with some of the greats, which I'm excited for. And Addy Zero off the gate, before we even started the episode today, almost an hour before, dropping a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I saw you in Asante's chat this morning. It means the world. Nissa Howard in the house here. I see the nerd chat. I see X Bacon Gaming hanging out. Mr. Glass. I don't think I've seen Mr. Glass in chat before. Appreciate you. Nicholas Johnson here. It's so good to see everybody. Thank you guys for supporting XCP. So my words of kindness go to you all for making my gaming week better and helping me get past that little bit. Channel members, your names are scrolling down below. I hope you guys know how appreciated you are. Logan, where are your words of kindness headed this week?
I want to reach out to, a few friends. One, you, because you checked in on me after last week. And, I'm not going to front about it. Like my personal life's going to shambles. So I'm trying to, stay strong and stick with the things that I'm having fun with. But you, my friend Kylea, my other friend Caleb, a lot of folks that I just know from content creation, from gaming, have been stalwarts in this life predicament that I'm dealing with. So it's just one of those things where my friend Kylea, she's been put up in bed rest after a surgery. So she can't commit to like streaming on Twitch. So she's been playing a lot of games and streaming them to her Discord. And that has been a great haven for me during quiet times where I feel like I want to connect with someone and talk with them and just distract myself. So shout out to her for being someone who just at the right time, at the right moment, being able to be there to kind of like, give me some background noise that isn't just a regular Twitch streamer that I can actually communicate with. So I really appreciate them and you as well for just kind of helping me. So really appreciate that. And to anyone out there who's curious, it's a personal thing. I don't really want to get into it, but I would always recommend do yourself a favor and always make sure that you're taking care of yourself and having a good balance in life. So that was who I wanted to thank.
Good advice. I love it. Let's see here, Logan. As much as the personal lives have been up and down for us both, and I'm glad people are checking on you, including myself. But I wanted to point out a couple cool things in this past week. I received 2 gifts in the mail. Two gifts, one cool thing in the mail. I got a super cool card from you with a very dope Superman bookmark, which is very cool. I almost don't want to take it out because it's so shiny and cool.
No, please take it out. It's they're nice bookmarks.
I also got and I want to point right here. I got a nice little bobblehead from Lord James Suddy. Yeah, I'm careful about picking it up, but it's a Vault-Tec bobblehead right there. See, that's what happens. Yeah, that little, it happens every time. So like, it's not very stable. But it's a nice little
in Vault-Tec.
Yeah, for real. But it's really cool. I got that in the mail from Lord James Suddy, which is cool. And then I got my first issue of Game Informer, which I was excited about. It was Ainsley
awesome.
Bowden that said, definitely support these guys. And I do like the crew that's working on this, but without all the like nasty ads and like in your face marketing stuff, I'm really excited to see it there. So yeah, man, I had a nice little bit of cool stuff coming into the mail this week that reminded me that I have real friends in the real world that are taking care of each other. And it was cool. It was awesome. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. Those are, I mean, I'm not gonna say that mine was the best because I'm the co-host, but I do say, I do think that the Vault-Tec boy was pretty on point. I knew about it a while ago and I was like, oh, that's gonna be great. This is like perfect timing. So yeah, it was so cool to see when you got that. It's like, oh yeah, it's so nice. I just want to know like where I can get custom statues made so that I can have like, because I already have one of my pirate like somewhere back here in my display case that was commissioned as a gift for me. But it's like that's about as close as I'm gonna be able to get. I don't have like a like my own character in a game that someone else made for me.
Yeah. I get what you're saying there, and I don't appreciate it. I had to.
It was a gift. You have to appreciate it.
Yeah. I guess. I've embraced it, right? Like, and I sent a cool email to PR people as we were setting up this summer stuff, and I realized I sounded like the adoring fan, and I was upset with myself. I was like, all right, I know what I sound like. I get it. So
I'd really like to have some sort of contact with you all. It's been a dream. I want to let you know all the cool stuff. I was watching The Thing You Do, and this is a small tangent. I was watching that movie, That Thing You Do, and I forgot that there's this scene in there where the drummer guy like meets his idol, and he just stands there and gushes for like 2 minutes straight about how important this guy was to his life and growing up and stuff. And I was like, that sounds familiar. Where have I seen that before?
Yeah. I know.
You know what I haven't seen before though?
Oh boy, here we go. This is gonna be a bad transition. What do you got?
I haven't seen the Xbox showcase for this year.
Well, here's the thing. It's been announced. We are excited to say that we've got information on the Xbox showcase. Very stoked for this one. It's going to be taking place on June 9th from, let's see, 10 a.m. Pacific. That's 1 p.m. Eastern for several hours, I would have to think, because it's a double feature, just like last year.
Yeah.
Last year they did Xbox Game Studios and then Starfield, right? Then this year they are doing a redacted second feature. Like they've got the Xbox Games Studio, which is meant to include Bethesda and Activision, but then the redacted one, which very clearly looks like Call of Duty. Like very clearly looks like Call of Duty.
I wouldn't say clearly, but if you're in the know, then you can work it out. Like, because I look at that and I'm like, I don't know what that is. But then I found out the
Vault Boy. If you look at Vault Boy, you know it's Fallout. Like it's that obvious.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I would argue that if you haven't been following the leaks, the Cerberus doesn't make sense. But if you know, then you know.
I get it. I'm that said, I am stoked. Like I'm really excited for this one because it looks like this show is going to be packed, right?
Yeah.
We've got a ton of stuff that's going to be happening in here. What up, Chris 1H1D in the house? Good to see you. Nissa, I see your comment. You're awesome. And Matt Valdez, one of our most amazing supporters as well, giving a shout out to Addy Zero, which I really appreciate. But yeah, so the thing about this showcase, Logan, is there's no way it can't be packed because in less than a month we'll have played and we'll be playing Hellblade 2, right? We saw a nice message from Aaron Greenberg about how they're working on marketing there, which I have a question for you about later in the show, because it felt like an odd tweet. But I'm excited to see what they show up here because we've got Hellblade 2 already happened by that time. Avowed is down the line. Indiana Jones is down the line. In theory, the Shattered Space update happens this year. I saw Todd Howard's comments. I don't believe him. Heavily rumored is Gears of War in this showcase. Flight Sim is this summer. Call of Duty is going to be coming out this year. Anything else from Activision? You've got the expansions for Diablo and for Warcraft. There's a lot to get in there, plus third-party partners that you want to build relationships with. That's a lot. That's a lot. And I love that it's a lot, right? Because I want that 2-hour show. I want to see Xbox firing on all cylinders, but that's a lot going on there. And I'm stoked to see just what happens with this episode of Xbox's showcase here, because it feels like we've turned a corner, but gaming is so fickle. Gaming is so quick. So I am curious how the community takes to it.
Are you talking specifically that people have kind of like gotten past the anger and the frustration with like games going over to PlayStation, and now we're just looking forward to the actual games coming out? Or was there something when you say turning the corner? I'm curious what you were thinking of.
I think what's going to happen is the corner turned is that we now see Xbox firing on all cylinders. We see the fruit that was born from the seeds planted of purchasing Bethesda, purchasing Obsidian, purchasing In Exile, having a big game every quarter. Because 2023 was a good year of releases for Xbox Game Studios. I think anybody that thinks otherwise and is stuck on Redfall is ignoring the obvious. And then we see in this past few months, the Xbox expands its reach by putting their stuff onto other platforms, which is a fair concern, right? If you're a console gamer, long time Xbox customer, like, should they be going other places? But I think very obviously from the revenues popping up, it was a good move, I think, right? And so it feels to me like Xbox is on the up and up in the best way. And now we've got some of those bigger heavy hitters coming. Indiana Jones, everybody swears to me is massive and huge, and I'm excited for it.
I wouldn't say, okay.
Right. I'm excited for it, but everybody swears to me it's this multi-million seller out the gate.
I think it's going to sell multiple millions, because I think there's enough of my generation that want that are still in console gaming. But I mean, I don't think it's going to be like God of War or Spider-Man 2 or anything like that. But I do
Spider-Man
think
and God of War. Spider-Man is a little different. Like, I don't think anything should be Spider-Man. But what I mean truly is that Xbox seems to have turned a corner. They seem to be,
I hope so, dude,
firing on all cylinders.
Dude, I really want this to be like an amazing showcase, because this is like our first opportunity to see where there hasn't been like some sort of legal or business thing going on with Xbox that has been looming over the discussion of Xbox as like a company, and we can actually just kind of like focus on the games now, because I feel like that's the thing that us as fans care about. Like as consumers, we don't care about the dealings that go on too much about what the company wants to buy or who they're acquiring, or how things are going to get integrated or what's going to happen. Like we just want to have good games, and we want those games to come to Game Pass, and we want those games to come to Game Pass the same day that they're available for sale. So they've got a lot to work with here. We've got Everwild, we've got Fable, we've got Perfect Dark, we've got State of Decay 3. We have the Clockwork
Revolution.
Clockwork Revolution. I kept wanting to say Clockwork Orange.
South by Midnight is the other one.
South by Midnight. We have the Anno Histories Untold. We have Ara. Thank you.
Silkenet pointed that out to us on our community episode.
Yeah, like I'd forgotten about Ara. I even forgot the name, so egg on my face. And that's just with the acquisitions that we've had in the last couple of years. We still don't know what's going on with like Machine Games. We still don't know what's going on with some of the other studios that have been cooking right now, like Double Fine and stuff. Like what are they working on? Same thing, like the Gears is a good call out, because to be perfectly honest, like we haven't seen what the Coalition's been working on beyond the demos that they did with the Unreal Engine 5 tests and the Matrix experience. So all signs point to this being a stellar showcase, and a lot of content that we can actually get this year as well as in the next year. And I'd be very interested to see if it's just going to be games, and if so, will we see any that will be like shadow drops or within the next month? Because I think that June and July tend to be some of the weaker months after a showcase compared to like September, October, November, December.
Agreed. I apologize. I had gotten a text that I had to answer. I didn't mean to do that right on air.
How dare you? The professionalism here, folks. This is why we need to get more funds from patrons.
I thought you were going to say legislation. I was like, oh,
no.
Oh boy, here he goes.
You said the word first. I didn't say it, so
that's true.
You opened that bag. I was going to say to get attention lessons for you.
Oh gosh,
get your focus.
I got all new like fidgets. They're all little Godzilla stuff.
Oh my god.
Pretty excited about it. So Logan, for me, the most exciting potential news to come out of this showcase, and this is theorizing, right? Not stuff we know. Because like it's a very obvious we'll see indie. It's very obvious we'll see Call of Duty, right? But I'm very excited to find out some sort of update on the Gears of War franchise, which, while not confirmed, feels like even insiders are saying Liam McIntyre, who plays JD Phoenix, he even kind of let slip on socials.
Okay, yeah, that one's legit.
You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like
legit.
Yeah, timeline wise, Liam's tweets and a few other not for click feeling comments, because that can happen, right? Feels like Gears of War is on the docket somehow, some way. And I'm just excited for Gears of War to make a return, because we know the Netflix series is kind of in production, but whatever that means, given, because I've heard a visual movie show for weeks, months, and years. So who knows what that truly means? But Gears of War, I think, is ready for a comeback in terms of the timeline. I think it would make sense for it to be there in some way, shape, or form. So whether or not this is a collection, a remaster set, the beginning of a remaster set, because I think you stagger releases for remasters would be a better way to do it than just a big, all at once at this point. Or Gears 6, I want to see the franchise make a return. I saw some people in chat earlier joking about, does Cliffy B make a comeback? I think it's clear Cliffy is not on the gaming radar.
Yeah, he's moved on to comics.
Yeah, I think he's moved on into other things. I see Chris 1H1D saying, how crazy is it Rod Ferguson is back under Xbox again? Yes, but I truly hope he doesn't. They call Rod the closer. He goes to franchises that need to get a game launched, right? That are kind of in that final stretch and they need to get there and make tough decisions. I hope that's not him with Gears, because I was not a fan of some of the influences that I understand he was a factor of, not the least of which, and this is such a silly thing. This isn't a big deal.
Of in Gears?
he stopped it being called Gears of War and just made it Gears
Oh.
5. I know that seems so silly.
No, I
That's a
didn't
dumb
like that.
thing.
Sorry,
Like
there's a name cachet with Gears of War. I didn't appreciate them changing it to Gears. I get the intent. They're trying to break away from the Marcus Phoenix storyline, but no, sorry. It's Gears of War, folks. Like, just, it's like calling it God of War. It's just like war. No, don't call it just, it's not war. It's God of War. No, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's a small, silly example, but I think also in order for Gears to be successful, it has to evolve a bit. And sometimes having legacy pioneer people from the franchise can be a hindrance to evolution. Other times it gets it across the door. For example, with Halo Infinite, I was really excited when Joseph Staten showed up because it felt like it got that program on track. I was glad that Rod Ferguson helped get Gears 5 out the door. But I hope the lessons have been learned so we can evolve those franchises, because clearly Halo and Gears need to evolve a bit more to kind of maintain their status as being, pillar franchises, which I don't think they truly are in the same ways anymore, which is a good thing. But I also look at the Halo news. Nice split end 89 going to go play some God 5. But I look at some of the Halo news, like the rumors of Marcus Leto going back to the studio. I don't know if that's wise. Is it good to have George Lucas go back to making Star Wars, or do you want that new blood? And there's a debate in there, right? Like, did you want J.J. Abrams doing it? Did you not? I think the lesson that I've seen from any type of popular media franchise, whether it's in film, MCU, Star Wars, Star Trek, any of those, or gaming, is that you have to find a way to pay homage to the old fans while doing something fresh and new. But regardless, you need a consistent and clear vision, a roadmap if you're trying to make pinged out multiple entries into something. And I don't know necessarily that Halo had that. I don't know necessarily that Gears of War had that. Clearly, Star Wars lacked that at one point. Phase 4 of Marvel lacked that. So I hope the lessons can be learned from a couple different places, for sure.
Yeah, I think that there's a good opportunity, and surprisingly enough, the thing that kind of excites me about going into this showcase and not knowing what's going on with the coalition is we have a real opportunity to give the coalition a chance to do something different. We've seen them play around with the Unreal Engine test demo. That did not look like a Gears game. They did the Matrix experience.
Talking about the Matrix? Yeah.
That was, well, no, because they had that wizard that was kind of like walking around in the tomb, and they were playing around with the smoke and the lighting with Lumen and stuff. It was a while. It was small. I don't expect anyone else to remember it, but they did 2 tests, and one of them was just kind of them playing around with lighting and a guy with magic and stuff, and the other one was the Matrix experience. Neither of those were Gears looking experiences. And I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of the coalition kicking off something that wasn't Gears. Like if we get the Gears, like remastered trilogy, I think a lot of people will be satisfied with that. And then for a coalition to say like, hey, we wanted to make a new IP, or maybe like make a Gears game, but not like your typical Gears game, something within the universe, but separate. I don't know. It was been something that I was thinking about while I was working on notes last night on the docket, and just kind of thinking like Gears is relevant, and Gears is I'm trying to think of the best word, but it's special to people, and to not give people more of that, I think would be a risk. But the coalition is such a good studio that I would argue that people would have a hard time saying that whatever they wanted to do, they would fail on. Yeah,
I understand that point. I think coalition or not, the Gears franchise is ripe for something new. I mean, Matt Valdez saying in chat he'd love to see something from them that's in like a first-person shooter type title. I'd see that, provided it isn't Call of Duty Gears or Halo Gears. It needs to be its own thing. I think a single-player survival game, a survival horror type experience would be dope. If you're in the Gears of War universe and you want to do a first-person shooter, I think being the Onyx Guard, which are the spec ops of that universe, trying to go forth against insurmountable odds and rescue someone from Azura, or do some get a VIP out of an area or something like that would be cool. I hope it's not a mode-based game like an extraction game. I don't want that.
No. Yeah,
but like
they could do that for multiplayer, but don't have like a standard story.
Now here's the question then. For Gears, Halo, or any of the other old pillars, I'm not talking Call of Duty because that's a different question for you.
Okay.
Do you think we should expect from some of these franchises that are well known and established a campaign with a multiplayer suite and a battle royale and a PvE and a da-da-da-da-da? Because Call of Duty has to have all four for it to be considered complete. Halo was expected to have all four, which to me is an unfair expectation now, even though Infinite, by the way, great state that it's in now. Should we expect that from, say, a new Gears of War game? Is that something we should have? Do I need a campaign, a multiplayer suite, and some other mode, or can I just have campaign and multiplayer?
God, that's a tough question, buddy. It depends on a lot of factors. If they're going to try and do esports with the multiplayer, then it's going to cause issues with time and development because they need to test and prep for that kind of thing. Not having a horde mode in Gears would feel weird considering how much of a staple it's been in the franchise. I mean, I correct me if I'm wrong, but they kind of made that mode. So it would be odd if it didn't have a horde mode. I think it'd be interesting if they had a twist on the horde mode, because I think horde mode is just it's just a mode that I think people are just like, okay, it's cool, it's fun, we'll play it for a while, but it's nothing like that's really, it's not taking over Fortnite or Call of Duty kind of thing.
I'll tell you, I've been playing Orcs Must Die 3 on Game Pass, and it's given me Gears vibes, Gears Horde vibes, I should say, because by Gears 3, Horde mode was this like, you need to build traps and build guns and emplacements, which I can't say I loved.
Really? With the Gears? Interesting.
I can't say I loved it, fair. But that's because I'm old, and I don't, again, being an old hat isn't always a good thing. I liked the traditional. Yeah, but
I liked it.
Does that sell? And that's where we go back to that same discussion. Is that the way you want to go? So I don't know.
I think that they would really have to say like, okay, we are really changing the formula with Gears for them to omit stuff that would be like multiplayer and horde mode.
I'm sorry, I was muted, so you didn't hear my keyboard. I see Chris's comment here, 1H1D, saying like he'd love for basically Xbox to have this like state where they all come together, all the studios come together and talk and swap ideas and concepts. They do have that, bud. That is something they do regularly. Sometimes they're digital, oftentimes in person. Sometimes we know about it, sometimes not. I've had the awkward. I run this weird awkward in between, Logan, and you know this, where it's like content creator, enthusiast. Sometimes like I dip my toe into the journalism side. Either way, in those moments, I can bump elbows with people. I know they have these events. Yeah. I'm not saying they have them all the time or anything. And sometimes you can see about it. There was one in Croatia recently, and I don't remember. Like if you go on socials and type in Croatia and gaming, you'll see it. Like, but it's not something for us. It's not meant for us to see per se. It's for them. So
yeah. In studios, just on studio level themselves, I know that studios typically after a project is shipped, they will go do a huge like month-long jam session where they'll start coming up with ideas and pitches and start listening to the everyone on the team on who's got an idea. Like Grounded was one of those game jams. Where
I was thinking it was Outer Worlds, but was it Grounded?
It was Grounded, yeah. Where they in Pentiment too, technically, but yeah, Grounded was one of those ones where it was like 5 people at Obsidian had this idea. It was interesting enough that the studio head was like, "All right, you 5 head off into a room and don't come out until you have a vertical slice." Vertical slice came out, really did well. They were like, "All right, you guys can get funded. Matt Booty was like, looks good, let's do it. And then they just kept working on it until it came into early or Xbox preview. Mm-hmm. And then they just kept working on it and getting the story and stuff.
I apologize. I was delivered a special package here, something I've been waiting for. That had said it was here and it wasn't here prior to the show. Can I take a moment, Logan?
Yeah.
Shout out one of our patrons.
I'm just thinking about your wife. That's fine.
Oh boy. Stay focused here. She is beautiful. This is my official Game Pass journal. This comes from 1H1D.
That's awesome.
It has arrived. This is pretty darn cool. If anyone hasn't seen it, they're available on Amazon. But they've got these cool little sections here. It tells you what game you're playing. You guys can't really see it on there. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Keep it, pass on it, take notes for likes and dislikes. Just a little notepad that keeps you track for it. For me, it's more of a keepsake because I don't know that I would use it. It's more like I want to see it on my shelf. I want to support Chris.
I need to order that. Yeah.
It's $6-7. It's so cheap.
Yeah. I need to order one because I would 100% use that.
You would use it. Ellery Woods Parker III, who's done some great stuff for us. They use it. I know lots of people that would use it, but it's a cool little notepad. And I had told my wife, I was like, it says it's here, but it's not. If it shows up, I want to show it off on the show today. So
there
you go. And shout out to Todd Oxtra, who should be Chris's agent because Todd has been promoting this for a good bit. And so that's awesome. And side note, I love seeing the green channel members in chat. It's so cool. I clicked the wrong one. I should be Chris's agent was what I was trying to click. But I love seeing the green names and I love seeing the XEP emotes. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Channel members, you're amazing. So there we go. So we've talked Gears of War, right? For this showcase. We've talked Gears of War. I cannot say in good conscience we see anything Halo here. I doubt we do. I don't necessarily know that I want to unless they're bringing in one of the, what is it? Spartan Strike, Spartan Assault, like those twin sticks. If it's a small project and they're just saying hey, this is coming, cool, I'm down for that. I don't want to see more Infinite. I don't need to see Infinite at the showcase unless they've got that Helldivers mode, which I did not read the article, but Jez Corden was really excited about. Side note, Jez is coming on the show next week. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't want to see Infinite until they've got story.
That's not happening. They said they're not happening.
That's the problem.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
I really love the story in Halo Infinite. I think they did a great job rebooting the story, and I really want them to continue it. And it kills me that they don't. So I honestly don't want to see Infinite content until they've got story, because the story is the reason I'm invested in Chief. It's in Cortana. It's the thing that keeps me hooked on the Halo franchises when there's a furthering of those characters' lives.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I don't want to see it. I see Split End saying maybe a trailer for an upcoming operation. I don't even want that. I don't even want that unless. No, I still don't want that. I love Infinite, but I don't. It's not even that. It's just
I'm just
Halo's in this weird place. It's in this weird place, and it feels like this showcase is for new and what's on the way, right? Spotlight indie, spotlight new Call of Duty, spotlight what's happening with Xbox Game Studios in the next year. Are we going to see South by Midnight, Clockwork Revolution? Do we get updates on something like Everwild, which I think is vaporware, Perfect Dark, which I think should not be there unless you're close to release.
I don't think that's close though.
I doubt it. That's what I'm saying. So I want to see within a year, projected within a year type stuff, right? I don't want them to say everything you see is coming within a year. I want you to say hey, these are upcoming, soon to be released type things. We see this, in a forecast type element, but I don't want far away projects. I don't want to know that something hey, what's up, Cheeseworks? I don't want to see something that isn't really don't give me the Metroid Prime 4 splash screen type treatment.
What's Metroid Prime 4?
It's something I really wanted.
They've never made a Metroid Prime 4. That's strange that you'd say that.
Cheeseworks is saying Phil has teased Perfect Dark being there. I did not know that.
Is that the absence of his tweets?
Yeah, you got me. I truly don't know. I love Cheeseworks. Good person. But I have not seen that. Either way, like I want to see something that's going to be relevant, right? And something that I very much appreciated Todd Oxtra pointing out. Oh, it was Matt Booty, not Phil, according to Ryan T. What's up, Ryan? I don't think I've seen Ryan in chat before either. Good to see you. So I want to know, and this was Todd Oxtra's question on our community episode this past week, but like, do we see anything else from Activision? Obviously, Toys for Bob spun off out of Activision, thus out of Microsoft, and it was a good split. I think that was really to help save jobs being lost. And then they greenlit a project, likely in the Spyro universe, that will come to Xbox. But do we see anything? Do we see something from Activision that's not Call of Duty, not Diablo, and not Warcraft? I had to make sure I covered my big three there. I hope so, right? I really hope so.
Yeah.
I mean new stuff. I don't mean back compat stuff, which it better be there. It better be there. Those old Call of Duties better be there. And if you want Luke Lohr to stand up and cheer, the old Spider-Man show back up. Because I think it's really stupid in a world where we are seeing time and again that going multi-platform builds revenue for studios and thus keeps jobs, why Spider-Man is locked in. It didn't help Avengers to have Spider-Man locked away. It didn't help Ultimate Alliance 3 to not show up on multiple platforms. It doesn't help. And you should have franchises like that belong to everybody to be everywhere. So I stand by that. I really hope we see something from the old Spider-Man games, at least making their way back, the old Transformer games making their way back. Let people give you money, because in the absence of a legal way to purchase things, piracy runs rampant, right? Yeah. And I'm all for that particular brand of piracy. If you don't give me a way to purchase it, I will give you money. I will purchase. I do purchase whenever I possibly can to support what I love. Give me a way to do that. And shoot, Logan, I know I'm on my soapbox, but you remember the old PS1 Spider-Man, the old PS2 Spider-Man 2, or PS1 Spider-Man 2, Enter Electro? Bring those back. I loved those on my Dreamcast. I want those games back. Let me play with this character in as many places as possible. That's something I truly want to see, is Activision free up that character.
It would be nice to especially get a lot of that back compat stuff. And I think we even had that as one of our listener questions about, would we be able to see like some back compat stuff coming or announced at the showcase? So I know that it's something that a lot of people have been asking for, especially, things like the old Transformer games and stuff like Todd Oxtra had written in about. I most definitely hope that there's something coming from Activision-Blizzard, but I do genuinely think that with the acquisition and how long that took, some franchises were always going to be continued, like worked on. Like you weren't going to stop the Call of Duty or the World of Warcraft train or the Overwatch 2 or Diablo trains to like see if we need to reassess where resources are being allocated within Activision Blizzard after the acquisition. Like that was not a question in anyone's mind, especially Matt Booty's when they had to go through and sift through the teams and see like, okay, where are there redundancies? Where are there projects that are close to completion? Where are there projects that have just recently gotten spun up that we need to shut down so that we can try and put those teams on something else? Like those were all things that we didn't have to worry about. I'm very concerned that with the acquisition, a lot of teams that may have had something that they would have kicked up or started, like we've already seen a couple projects get shut down over at Blizzard, that there isn't going to be anything new from Activision for a while, because I think that they came in, they took a look at what was going on with all the studios, and they sat down with the different teams and said, what do you want to work on? And then gave them the freedom to work on that, to test it, to see if the vertical slices would play out and be fun. And if they would, to continue those projects. But then we're looking at like 3, 4, or 5 years before any of those projects are ready to be launched. And as such, I think that we're just going to see the consistent staple of what we get from Activision-Blizzard, which is mostly Blizzard with Call of Duty for the time being, until some of those other studios get up on their feet and get integrated and assimilated into the Xbox ecosystem.
It makes good sense, and I see a couple people in chat saying it's too soon for anything but Call of Duty, and I believe you, right? I get it, I do, and I think that's where I back compat or older titles coming back 100%. Makes so much sense, and needs to happen. Making Xbox the place for Call of Duty is a smart thing to do for a number of reasons, and I know in one of our later topics we're going to talk about console sales and revenue, because that yet again came up even after last week's episode. It's important. I think it's important to see Call of Duty in a healthy space, but not be the only place. Let me back that up. It's important to see Call of Duty in a healthy space, to make Xbox an important space for Call of Duty where people associate the two brands. And this is their opportunity to do that. But Activision has far more than Call of Duty in its pantheon. And there's a reason why Xbox went all out, did do the purchases. And it wasn't just COD. It had a lot to do with it, a great deal to do with it. Split End in chat correctly saying there's a Fallout crossover coming. Yeah, data mines have shown that there's Fallout skins coming in Call of Duty. I love that. I talk all the time, Logan, about how cross promotion needs to be a thing. If there is a Gears of War on the way, I darn well better have COG armor in COD or in Halo. That needs to happen.
That'd be great.
It's important. I don't see a reason why not. If Lilith can walk around in Call of Duty and we're all having a blast, it's awesome. You hate us, so you don't play Warzone with us this week. It's like you've been busy or something.
I'm going to the gym. I'm trying to better myself.
Yeah, you look great too. It's annoying.
I know. So good.
Yeah, you do look good. It's like, all right, good on you. Fair point. But it's, we won our match, and we had a dinosaur, a ghost, which was me. What up? A ghost version of a COD character. Then we had a gold-plated COD character, and then A-Train from the boys, and that was our squad. Like, we can be as mix and matchy and as fun as we go. And to that point, I asked this question a lot, but like, okay, we've spent a lot of money in Modern Warfare 1 and 2, which are symbiotic. What happens to some of those branded skins? Do they go away? Because I will tell you, as excited as I am for the new Gulf War Black Ops title, and I'm hoping to see him touch and play that this summer. It looks like I might get a chance to, fingers crossed. What happens to my Godzilla bundle that I paid $25 for, or my Black Cell stuff, my blueprints? I would imagine they go away, but I think some of that should make its way over, right? Like, reward some of your longtime fans, but that's definitely a conundrum, right? Like, that's definitely something that Xbox has to figure out, particularly as COD Mobile, which is huge, has integrating itself into the space.
Yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see how a lot of the content that we've been buying, especially like if you're investing into the season pass and you're buying Black Sale to get the tier skips and stuff, like there's a lot of money that can get sunk into Call of Duty, and to not have that transfer over would be a real blow to the integrity and trust that comes from your consumer base. I personally, I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts on this. Is this going to be the Call of Duty that comes to Game Pass day one? And if so, will it be all of Call of Duty? Will it just be the campaign? Will it be multiplayer? Will it be zombies? Like, how much Call of Duty can they put on Game Pass if it does? And is this the one to do it?
This is the one to do it, for sure. Lock it in. Boy, I don't even feel confident as I say it. This should be the one that should come to Game Pass. And the reason being, when you go into a Call of Duty experience at present, you get zombies, you get Warzone progression access in your battle pass, you get a campaign, and you get multiplayer. And in every one of those spaces, those are opportunities for your microtransactions to be put on display. There are very few skins in COD Mobile that are only COD Mobile. The rest are everywhere. very few skins exist only in a certain space. And so putting it into Game Pass allows a number of customers who might have been bullish on the idea of getting into Call of Duty a chance to try it. And those campaigns, from the worst to the best, they're like Fast and the Furious, right? Even the worst Fast and Furious movies, they're a blast if you're chilling and not putting a lot of stakes in them. They're dumb action movies, silly whatevers, right? That's what video games are to a lot of people. So giving them a chance to play the campaign and then maybe try out a Zombies, which Zombies currently in its current form is a great place for someone who enjoys the shooting of Call of Duty, wants to play with their friends, but they don't want to be in a sweaty competitive space like multiplayer.
Yeah.
And Warzone is not sweaty, I don't think. I think it can get sweaty here and there, but like its generic experience is not terrible. It's not hyper intense. There's a lot of places for casual fans to enjoy and thus spend money on those bundles.
Yeah, no, and you're right about that. I disagree with you about what multiplayer versus Warzone being sweaty, but I think that this would be a great way to really kind of give players the opportunity to do something that we've seen them do with Game Pass, which is the $40 pack. Which, as we've seen this year, $40 for a game is the sweet spot on Steam.
It's the sweet spot in a lot of places.
True, but we've definitely seen a lot of games come out this year where $40 is low enough of a buy-in that even if it's not a game that you're going to really like play a whole lot, if there's enough fervor around it, if there's a zeitgeist building up around that game, people will easily drop that $40 to pop in and see what the jib jab's about, you know? And to have something that they've done in the past, which is like the Fallout or Forza Horizon 5 and the what was the other
that
one?
Like $30 upgrade, the Redfall Bite Back Edition. Is this what you're getting at? Yes. Talk to me. This is exactly what I was gonna say.
Do something like that with Call of Duty. If you want Call of Duty, just the base campaign, you can get that day one Game Pass. If you want zombies, you want multiplayer, you want like skins and stuff like that, or some COD points along with the campaign and early access on Game Pass, then you buy the $30, $40 pack when it launches, and you get that early access that they normally release with Call of Duty. But you only have to spend the 30 or 40 on Game Pass to be able to get that, as opposed to the $100 or $110 version of Call of Duty.
I think we're seeing more than ever the pricing structure be examined across a number of places. We're seeing on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox. You know, the 30, 40, the 80. Like, goodness, I was actually glad that Ubisoft took a bit of heat for their Star Wars bundle. Because I think they should have taken some of that heat on the Avatar and Far Cry 6 elements. And I'm okay with heat, provided there's also like okay, no petitions that I'm no boycotting when very clearly you're gonna play it. None of that. But I like
there's some great content in those petitions, though.
Oh my gosh, the Stellar Blade petitions are exactly what you expect them to look like. Exactly what you expect them to look like. But I truly enjoy seeing these price structures explored, because $40 to enter into a game seems to be the right spot. It's not too high, not too low. You still kind of reward your customer a bit and your developer. But then if you have a microtransaction platform, you've got war bonds in Helldivers, you've got COD bundles or whatnot. If you can get a customer into Game Pass, and because they have Game Pass, they can play a base, and maybe they get maybe you get the Black Cell COD pass for $10 instead of 30 because you're on Game Pass or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it's a very smart move. And somebody asked earlier in chat, I missed who it was exactly. Do they raise prices for games? I don't think that's a smart move at the moment. That was 1H1D. What's up? I don't think you raise prices for games. I think you lower if you have platforms for people to spend within that ecosystem, right? You reward your Game Pass and give them some perks for sure, but it's definitely something that they have to continuously have conversations about. And for Xbox fans, they've already been doing this. your Hellblade 2, your big game that's coming out this month, the one that everyone's been talking about since the Xbox Series X was showcased for the first time at the Game Awards. That game is digital only. That game is $50. Don't tell me they're not exploring, you know?
Yeah.
I think you and I have a running bet
good.
for Extra Life that hold on, scroll down, make sure I get the wording right. I bet that Avowed is all digital. You think it's going to have a box? I don't think so. I do not think so. So I think you're seeing these pricing structures already be explored, and how they handle Call of Duty will be very telling. If there are any other games that are coming from Xbox Game Studios that are multi-platform, that pricing will be interesting, right? Sea of Thieves and Grounded are good recent examples. But I'm talking more like, do you see something new? That new Spyro game that's being worked on with Toys for Bob, which is no longer Activision. What's that? What does that come in? Because I don't think you make money if you sell it at 70 or even 50. That needs to be a $40 game.
Yeah.
Even if the quality is great, right? And that's the thing with pricing is, are you going to do more damage for having a higher price, or are you trying to get the whales? And I explore that more if you're Xbox, for sure.
Yeah. Especially because you can. Ubisoft, they don't really get that opportunity. They have to come out with a $70 to $110 version right off the bat to get the day oneers. Then they can start and work on those folks later on with the content after they've been sold on the game. Everyone else is going to wait for that like first price hit after 3 months, or the second price hit after 6 months, or the like $10 version when it's a year and a half out. And you just have to slowly, you got to figure out like how to start, because I don't know if you've ever done sales and retail. There is a way to sell content. There's a way to sell stuff. And the way I get you to buy, and we'll take cars as an example. The way I get you to buy a Toyota Prius is when you come onto the lot, I walk you over and I point at the Tesla X and I say, this is your vehicle. And I say, this is the thing that you want the most, and you're going to love this. And I can see you enjoying the hell out of this car, and you're going to love it. And you're going to tell me that's too much money. And I'm going to walk you over to another car that's like a Ford or some other like, EV vehicle that's still more than the Prius. And I'm going to say, okay, I know you want the Tesla. I know it's not in your range. This is in your range, and it's a little above your range, but right. I still think you're going to really love it. And you're going to walk out with that Prius because I walked you over to the very top, most expensive thing and sold you on that. And I know you want that, but I know you're going to drop and you're going to be like, okay, well, I still am getting a decent deal because I'm still getting an EV that I want, that will do what I needed to do, but it's within my price range. Instead of me taking you to the Prius and being like, this is the best car, and you trying to talk me down from the Prius.
Fair. And it's a smart tactic and a useful one. And I think that's what Xbox has done before with some of its special editions, some of its elements. Cheeseworks, I've got a quote highlighted here, asking, why doesn't Xbox do more special editions, collector's editions? It could work for Avowed, like a crazy $250 version. That might be that top part, but if you don't want that top one, maybe you do get the bite back edition equivalent, or the something or another equivalent. I like the $30 upgrade from Game Pass. I love that price point, because as a Game Pass customer, I'm technically already paying, but it doesn't feel like that. And then that $30, for some reason, and I'm not saying this is how it works, I'm just saying it's how it feels as a consumer, I feel like I'm still supporting the game in the studio, right? Yeah. And I think that's a smart way to do it. And depending on the game and the franchise, I'm down for that 3-day early access if there's cosmetics and other stuff. If I'm only getting that 3-day access, there's no reason for it to exist. So I need something in game that's cool, and I'm willing to pay $30 to upgrade. I'm not willing to pay $30 on top of the cost of the game, a la Star Wars Outlaws. And so there is an in between there. And as someone who's very IP based, I get it. Yeah. I get it. Like, it depends on the game. It depends on what it is, for sure. And I'm seeing a great conversation in our chat right now just about these different editions and what they would play.
Xbox is not about polished top tier content that they sell a statue for. They are about selling you $60 controllers. They're about selling you $50 wraps. They're about selling you $30 bite back early access editions and Game Pass. Xbox has always been about value. You're always going to feel like you're getting a value out of the ecosystem. If you want those $250 collector's editions, that is PlayStation's buy-in. That is their thing. Their goal is to try and sell you on the highest possible market value that they can for a game, knowing that if you don't buy it day one, you're probably going to wait till it's on PS Plus or $20.
Wait, why is that? Okay, I'm not I understand your wording. I'm not sure I agree. So tell me why that's a PlayStation thing and not a anyone thing.
Nintendo doesn't do collector's editions.
Okay.
Xbox usually does hardware for their special edition stuff.
We got the wrap for Starfield, the watch from that super expensive edition.
Yeah. We did get that. That's fair.
We didn't get a big Halo.
Halo Infinite was an Xbox.
Right, but it was rare because of COVID, if I remember right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just rare because of artificial stuff.
Was it?
Like
okay.
It's just they could have
put. They do.
They were making yeah, they do controllers. They do special edition controllers and stuff like that. They don't sell you statues.
Okay.
If you want statues, you go to Best Buy. You go to First Four Figures. Mm-hmm. They don't do the big collector's editions. Like we didn't get like a statue collection for Grounded or Hi-Fi Rush or Minecraft Legends. Like we aren't getting like there's no collector's edition statues that they're putting out for any of their games. That's not their bag. Their bag is to get you on the Game Pass, to sell you a $30 upgrade edition that gets you content beyond just the base game that's coming day one. And you get early access. You can buy some skins if you really want to within the game. If you want the $250 collector edition, that is what Sony does. They did it with Spider-Man. They did it with Final Fantasy. They did it with God of War. They did it with I got the freaking Horizon Forbidden West one right there. Mm-hmm. That is Sony's thing.
Okay, I mostly agree with your comment. I'm still stuck because like some of the people in chat, like I've got my Halo collector's editions, which for Infinite was weird because that availability and delay in the game. So we had the statue, but then the delay. I
what
do
was
have
the statue for Halo Infinite.
It was a Master Chief shooting a grapple
from Best Buy.
From anybody. I think it was supposed to be with Infinite, and then the delay to Infinite by a year.
All right.
No, Infinite got delayed a year because of that rough showcase.
Still, but they didn't sell it through. They didn't sell it with the game. They never
Correct.
sold that statue with the game.
When you're buying it was
did they
supposed
though?
to be. Yes. Yes. Come on.
Chat,
tell me if I'm crazy. That was but prior to Infinite's 1 year delay after that rough E3 showing. That was going to be part of a big collector's edition, right? Like Halo Infinite should have had one that was just like 4, like 5, like 4 didn't have a good one. I'm sorry. Like Reach and like 5 and like 3. So, hey, Logan, let's put a pause in this because we've got more to go to here, but I want to read a list of our channel members, and I'd also like to read our patrons, if you don't mind. I'm going to ask you to read patrons, and I'm going to pull up the list of our channel members at the moment. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So, here are our patrons.
Thank you to the tier 2 and tier 3 patrons. This week we have Chris, 1H1D, Nicholas Johnson, Ellery Woods Parker III, Rob Frawley II, Tao Zochi, Xbox Skittle, Randall Thor 19, Silkenit, African, aka Charles Jones, Game Positive, Jam Pack Sam, Matt Valdez, Neo Prime 33, Rick Davis, Red Beast, Xbox Mike 29, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, Brendan Myers, aka The Winter Gamer, Sony's VP of Marketing Kevin Butler, Clint Coombs, DJ Hero, and Dano12. Thank you all so much for your support.
We appreciate you guys to no end, and I want to give a shout out to our channel members as well. Captain Crunch, Happy Cloud Gamer, X Bacon Gaming, Cheeseworks, being tier 1, Matt Valdez at tier 3, Jonathan B, Addy 0, Addy Toon, Matto 1606, Rick Davis, Spartan P451, Mean Muggin 20, Nisa Hauer, Silent Cypher, Saborito, Matt Sarin, and Drake Williams, all at tier 1, with the exception of Matto 1606 being at tier 2. Thank you guys for being channel members. Whether you're a patron or a channel member, you are helping me afford my trip and go out west to see hopefully Logun in person, which I'm really hopeful for, getting to bump elbows, meet Ainsley Bowden in person, see some of these great games, do some demos, and bring you guys coverage. It means the absolute world, and I thank you so much for supporting the show. For anybody that's dropped a super chat, a channel membership, or gone to patreon.com/Xbox Expansion Pass, thank you 100 times over. You are appreciated. And if that's not you and you don't have the finances right now, just by being here, watching, clicking like, sharing the show, you are also kind of making the world go around. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. Logan, we've talked a good bit about kind of the showcase that's coming. Kind of got into a console discussion, and I want to talk a little bit more about that console discussion, because last week in my talk with Lord Cognito, we pointed out that Xbox revenues are way up right now. We are seeing a huge kick up in Xbox revenue, which has climbed to some pretty astounding heights. 51% games growth revenue for Xbox. And then we also saw right next to it a 31% decline year over year since the Xbox Series S and X launched in 2020. So those are some big ups and some big downs. We are now finding out, courtesy of Matt Pescatella, who is a research analyst for Circana and pretty well respected, commonly cited in the gaming industry, saying that U.S. spending on gaming hardware overall is down 32% in March of 2024. And sales are also down a sizable 24% in the Q1 period. Included in his statements are the idea that console sales are down for Xbox, yes, but they're also down for PlayStation and for Switch. The reason I bring that up is that people are playing games in more places, not just on consoles. I really feel like PC gaming is getting more popular. Friggin' nerds. But also, we're in this strange state of flux right now because PlayStation is not doing any big major AAA titles. They're relying on Hellblade. They're sorry, not Hellblade. I apologize. Helldivers, thank you, and Stellar Blade to kind of carry that load for them.
That's their Hellblade is Hellblade. Helldivers and Stellar Blade. That's
true.
Their Hellblade. Oh my god.
You know what we need to do? We need to start a petition. So the reason I find that so interesting is that while these console sales are down, revenues are down also. I'm looking at Sony having revenues down, and yet Xbox revenues are up. People consistently point to Activision-Blizzard like that's not Xbox now. But also, something Xbox did in this last quarter was put their games in new places. They put Sea of Thieves, arguably the biggest of the four titles that they put elsewhere.
Ironic.
Oh, crazy. They put it on the PlayStation. It's selling like crazy, doing extremely well. I've got the numbers buried in our notes there. Grounded is doing quite well, right? Hi-Fi Rush, I don't think it kicked the needle up too hard, but I can't imagine it didn't make money. Pentiment, it's in a place that can go places. Yeah, talk to me, because I think this is a great strategy, and I've teetered on this idea over the last 6 months. Now we know, now we see, it seems to be doing quite well.
So I've come around on this because I was very much build the brand when it comes to exclusives. They build the brand. They are what drive console sales. Now that we're seeing that console sales have declined, which is interesting, because I think there's two things that are kind of factoring into this as well, too, that we aren't taking into account. One, we haven't seen a mid-gen refresh, which typically knocks down the cost of the originals. The consoles, if anything, this generation have gone up in price across different territories. So to me, people are still waiting for the consoles to drop in price. Nobody's wanting to spend the $500 on an old gen system if they're not going to have a bunch of games. And two, there's a bunch of games, but not like it's not like the end of the PlayStation 4 era where if you bought a $200 Spider-Man PS4, you could pick up a plethora of really, really top tier games for like 10, 15, 20 bucks each at the end of that generation. Like we just aren't seeing that now with these ones. So not only is it that these games are in other places, there's less likelihood that you need to buy multiple consoles because at this point, there's a good chance that they could be going to other consoles and less of an exclusivity. Yes, people are building stronger PCs because they need to be able to do their taxes faster. And I think having a good graphics cards helps your refund go up. So with people being able to build their own PCs, with people being able to, like, we've had a pretty stark growth in GPUs, like the whole data mining thing with like crypto and currency, that's all died off. So GPUs are now available. So people are building PCs again. That with a good generation of consoles, but not like a warranted one. I still don't feel like the Xbox has really like come into its own. I don't think that we've really seen like those consoles really. I don't think we've seen games really take full advantage of them. We got news about the Starfield thing just now starting to get like an update that gives it some new features that I think should have been there day one. So when I look at the revenue drop, I'm like, yeah, I haven't really seen like a justification for the console so much. Like there's still a lot of games that are available that are really good games that are available on old hardware. And if you're a very casual person, given like COVID and the like inflation and things like that, like this is a luxury thing. I don't see a lot of people making a whole lot of extra money out there.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Shout out to the nerd chat who's reminding us that when we all play, we all win, which was, I believe that was something said by Phil Spencer and then repeated by Xbox in their own marketing.
Shigeru Miyamoto.
No.
Yeah.
No. He said that Shigeru Miyamoto's only contribution to gaming ever, I think, was that if a game is delayed, it's bad forever, or good if it's not delayed. And I don't even know who that guy is.
He made the FromSoft games.
That's what it was. Yeah, totally. Dude, someone in their car is pulling their hair out. I love it. I love it. When we play, we all win. That's an allusion to a couple different things. Putting your game into other places, putting it onto other markets, allowing your pillar notable franchises to make their way into other ecosystems to thus make money. But also to say that like PC gaming is on the rise. Console sales are down. That means that games need to be elsewhere in order to thrive. And never to this day have I been impacted by playing Call of Duty or Fortnite or now Sea of Thieves with somebody who's on another platform, because I'm still playing where I want to play, right? There is logic to rewarding your own customers. I don't know where that line is anymore, because I think if you'd asked me 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, each time I'd have given you a different answer. Quick correction based on Ryan T, who I only just met today. So, I don't know Ryan's sources, but he did point out that Grounded and Sea of Thieves were not counted in this quarter as they released in April. I don't know if pre-orders were counted, so I don't want to factor that, but the point remains the same, that being on other platforms has proven successful for these brands, and Microsoft is making money as a result of it. I think this showcase will be very telling if we see Gears of War announced and they don't say Xbox exclusive. Because remember a few years ago, exclusive was all they could say, and it didn't matter. Nobody cared. I wanted it to matter. It didn't. Yeah. So, I wonder what they do, because all of that hoopla around the Blade reveal, when they could have just easily said Xbox Game Studios, and then they didn't, which I think is a self-inflicted wound. Even if it's exclusive, it's still Xbox, or not exclusive, it's still Xbox Game Studios. So why not do that? I just am fascinated by kind of the road that we're going, because last night I attached my backbone to my phone and I played an Xbox game. I did. That's something I did. It was something that happened. So really interesting. And we can also point to PlayStation, who they're getting crucified in Hellblade 2
Not Hellblade.
I did it again. Helldivers. I did it again. Helldivers 2. Steam reviews. They're getting review bombed because they've just introduced the good news on the PlayStation front. I got you. Stick with me.
Yeah, okay.
They introduced a week or two ago the PC app for PlayStation, so suddenly you can get trophies on your PlayStation games that Sony owns. Awesome. But then they activated something that should have been in Hellblade 2 early on that wasn't due to a bug and an issue, saying that you needed to have your PSN account linked and going on and being used so that you were logging into PSN to play Helldivers 2. It's a problem to me on PlayStation side because you sold this in areas where PSN wasn't available. People were playing and having fun, and then you changed the experience. The PC overlay, not an app. Ryan is on point. Ryan has got me today. He said, "Luke, I'm new to the show, and I'm gonna get you." But for Helldivers 2 specifically, you are now alienating people that have bought your game, supported your game, and made your game big. And then I don't think they're handling their own messaging well. And that's the danger. The more wide the net cast, the more issue it is. When you anger that player base, right?
Yeah.
And that's something to be said within that. So going more places is good, but it does open you up to more concerns and headaches, a la Call of Duty, where you're going to put your Warzone players. Are you putting them into the new game, keeping them in the old game, doing both? Then what do you do with skins? Yeah, it's just logistics that need to be worked out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting this showcase to see how that gets addressed. It'll be interesting to see how people respond to it. I'm sure there's going to be some console warriors out there who are upset that they still have to spend the $70 to be able to play Call of Duty instead of it coming to PS Plus. What I think would be interesting is Sony has a habit of trying to make really big deals, especially for Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
I would be very, very interested to see if there is, because typically in the past, Activision and Sony had a sweetheart deal where Sony players could get a week's worth of access early if they pre-ordered the game at a certain level, right? I'm wondering if anything like that will still exist. Like, will Sony players get a week's access if they buy the $130 version of the game, and PlayStation users or Xbox players can just spend $30 and get 3 days worth of access through Game Pass? Something like that. I'm very curious to see like what kind of deals are being made to still kind of have value for PlayStation fans, because I would argue that that's probably where a lot of the hardcore like Call of Duty players are for console, at least, compared to what they'll end up doing with the game on the Xbox ecosystem.
I agree. One of the games that I'm very curious when is going to go to PlayStation or Switch 2 or anything else is Starfield, because he was asked point blank, like Tina Amine asked Phil point blank at one of the showcases in February.
Yeah.
Are you going to put Starfield there? Or Indiana Jones and Starfield one of the ones? And he said no. And I can't imagine that stays that way, given the profits that Fallout is seeing as a result of the show on other platforms.
I mean, those games are making money right now. They're all multi-plat. Like, it's like, why do you need to put Starfield out there if you've got 7 games from Fallout like making money for you right now?
Well, okay, so
Starfield doesn't have a hit show to drive sales.
So let me put this in front of you. If they just put out they're putting out the May 15th update, which looks to be really good. It's going to add display options for consoles. It's going to get you at 60 frames per second. We know they've got with Shattered Space.
It makes me so mad.
I don't know why it makes you mad, but hold on, let me finish the spiel.
Yeah, I know.
It was Todd Howard who said in a Kind of Funny interview that Shattered Space is arriving this fall, which to me is okay. How do you manage that? You got COD, you got Indie, you got some other game, Avowed, and you've got a couple other games that are happening. Like, where do you space them if you're Xbox? I'm curious. Shattered Space is supposedly in the fall with more shipbuilding, city maps, not just surface maps, more display modes, even that we're getting now in this May 15th update. You've got a toggle for the dialogue camera, which is cool. Basically, what you're going to see is the next step for Starfield, come Shattered Space. Is that when you put your game multi-platform? Because there, side note, I don't think Shattered Space happens this fall at all. Chat, tell me if I'm crazy, but there is no way Shattered Space happens this fall. Todd Howard doesn't exist on the same timeline. He doesn't perceive it in the same way. That thing gets delayed. There's no way. It comes out in February or March next year. Book it. I'm making that prediction now. I know nothing, by the way.
I think it comes out this fall. It's a year. Most DLC, in my experience, usually like a year's time is a good time, because you do a good price drop on the game, and then you sell the DLC with it, and then you bundle the two for the same prices like the standard game was when it launched.
All of you are making sense. I hear you, Logan. Cheeseworks says I'm the crazy one. Okay, like Todd Howard's made every release date he's ever said. Clint also on Cheese's side, on Logan's side, and Clint then saying that indie sells 2 million. Yeah. I hope I'm wrong on all of this, and I'm not even trying to be a cynic. I just know that Bethesda and Todd Howard's track record of hitting on time doesn't happen. Xbox ability
to
though.
They
what are you
did.
talking about? What?
Dude, Starfield is the one like time where they're like, hey, like Fallout 4 came out when it said they were going to launch it. Fallout 76 came out when they said it was going to launch. Like, typically Todd Howard does not say when games are going to come out until he is like imminent. Starfield was like the one exception, and that was because of like the Xbox influence.
They are now an Xbox studio. And Xbox has delayed its biggest games to make sure they do right. The one time they didn't, Redfall, it got punched in the nuts.
It's fine though, because we're finally getting our 60 frames per second mode. So, they couldn't do it at launch, but half a year later, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we can actually do a 60 frames per second mode. I'm
taking crazy pills right now. So Cheeseworks saying it's going to be buggy AF, but it's going to release. That's the problem. Do you keep doing if you're Matt Booty, Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, you're anybody that's not Todd Howard at Bethesda, do you keep letting buggy messes launch? Because I'll grant you 76 is in a great place, but they just released Fallout 4 in a better state on PlayStation than it is on Xbox. They just released Sea of Thieves in a better state on PlayStation than it is on Xbox. And I understand the reasoning, the logics. I do understand the back end elements, at least based on what I've been seeing, but that's not a good look if you're Xbox. So fix it.
It doesn't matter. You're still selling the game though, Luke. That's the whole argument of everyone talking about why you put stuff multi-plat. It doesn't. You just it doesn't.
You don't
matter.
think it sells more if it doesn't have those problems?
I think people on Xbox are going to buy it regardless.
I think if you've got a productive fall, you don't put Shattered Space in there if it's going to be buggy. Because only thing that's going to happen is it's going to get crucified week over week, article after article. So I don't think you accept that negative press in a fall where you've got Indiana Jones, Call of Duty, Avowed, whatever the other one is that I keep forgetting. I don't think you do that. I just don't think that's what you do.
I think that the majority of Bethesda fans who are on PC, which is where their main player base is because of the mods, will buy the content day one when it launches, buggy or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the modders are going to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to matter. I don't think it's going to matter.
Want? Is the modders being
I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm saying that's what's going to happen. I don't think they should be putting games out that are buggy at all. I hate day one patches. The fact that I have to wait day one for you to get the game to be in a state that's decent says to me that you didn't plan this game very well.
The incredible Split End 89 has been hopping with our chat today. I really enjoyed it. Says they're going to buy it anyway. It sounds like he's on your side as well. It sounds like I'm basically in my corner alone in this thought process.
It's okay. Can we talk about the toggle dialogue camera mode, by the way?
Sure. Talk about it.
This is, I'm wearing my Cyberpunk shirt today, which if you guys can't see, Cyberpunk 2077, amazing game. A little buggy at launch. I'm not going to talk about that. It's a fantastic DLC that came out last year. That game has some of the most immersive storytelling I have ever seen in an RPG. They absolutely kill it. the fact that Starfield is giving you a toggle for the dialogue camera mode, which if you know from Bethesda games or like Outer Worlds or you know, like Obsidian games, it is the let's go to the talking head dialogue option thing. The fact that they're allowing you to turn that off gives you so much more sense of being in a world and being able to see your character, whether you're in first person or second person, and just having that natural state. And you're not just like crammed into this, I'm staring 3 feet in front of this person to hear them talk to me and have to look at their weird face with their dead eyes. I love that. I can live with their really bad like facial animations that don't they have that weird thing where it's like their eyebrows don't move while they're showing emotions, which I don't know why their eyebrows would be doing this, but it's definitely a Colin Farrell thing. So I'm glad that they're giving us this option along with like the ship customizations and decorations options, the better maps, the new difficulty for those that are just, you know, light years beyond where everyone else is with, you know, like the number of times they've done New Game Plus and the display modes, which having VRR for 40 and 60 frames, for 40 and 60 frames is fantastic. That should be a standard in games. Having VRR on TVs is very nice because it helps mask a lot of the weird frame drops, but having it sync up to a 40 or a 60 frame mode allows that VRR to breathe a little bit better. And I'm so glad that they're giving us a 60 FPS mode. I will take the resolution hit for a cleaner, more seamless experience that doesn't feel juddery or doesn't have weird stutters. Like I'm here for that because I love to have games just feel like I can immerse myself in without weird hardware hangups.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one of those things that's like the quality of life that makes such a difference to the long-term acceptance of a game. And so I'm glad to see that one happen. I felt after playing Immortals of AVM, somewhere right around or before Starfield, where the facial animations were so spot on good and impressive, to go to something like Starfield, which was supposed to be at the time the second coming of Jesus in gaming. Yeah, it felt very rigid and odd, and so more options to kind of alleviate that spotlight on a problem is an issue. Now, I'll say for Shattered Space, the name suggests that it's a lot of space combat. I don't know if that's actually the case for it, but I really hope it is. I also love the idea of they say a land vehicle is being worked on. That better be like land vehicles being worked on. And in the second thingy, I hope we get some flight options that are planetary, because one of the best features of the Ubisoft games, No Man's Sky, but the Ubisoft games Starlink, any game that you can be on planet flying and then go up and exit atmosphere into the new world is exceptional. And I sincerely hope that that is a future for Starfield, because I'm learning as I explore Fallout, and I'm exploring it more slowly than I anticipated just because of focus and time and energy. And those games demand attention and deserve attention because they're good. I'm started Fallout 76 and I'm like, waiting for that one until I have time. Same with Fallout 4's next gen until it's truly fixed for Xbox. What I'm seeing is that these games, what they offer that people are frustrated with Starfield is a curated experience in terms of missions, in terms of environment and world. And in a way that Fallout 76 was able to grow and expand and do so well, I totally see Starfield being just fine. But I can wait. I can wait. So if Shattered Space doesn't quite do what it needs to do off the bat, I can wait for the next one, because there's one thing that's very clear with Bethesda titles is they are not going to abandon games. No. I know that stuff is happening with Redfall right now. I know that there is.
Yeah. They're going to announce them two characters.
I talked to the guy recently. Like, stuff is happening. That's not to say it's everything you want it to be, but they've not left it behind.
That's good. Right? Who are the two characters, Luke? Are you one of them? God. Did they put the Vault Boy in Redfall?
It's actually the Adoring Fan. Good.
Oh, good.
There you go.
He's just running around like, I love zombies and I love vampires.
Zombies and vampires.
Amazing.
Todd Oxtra's in there like it should have been Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And
we're all like,
cool. It
How
would have
dare
been
you?
cool. It
How
fit,
dare
but
you?
like, there's 6 people that know it. You know,
Could have been
Blade
Buffy, and you have to hunt down Angel. Oh,
Angel was better than Buffy. I'll stand by it forever.
the movie was better than the show. Let's go. Next.
The movie was better than the show.
Movie was way better than the show.
I liked the movie. Let's see. So, bottom line, Starfield's May 15th update looks very promising. Shattered Space, whenever it does drop, I think has a lot of expectations on it. I only hope that they either go all out with marketing if it's set to deliver, or they hold off. Yes, Wandering Dutch in the house. I was hoping I'd see a friend in the creation community other than the ones we had. It's good to see you, Wandering Dutch. Good to see you. Congrats on your showcase a few weeks back, my friend. Great there. If you're not following Wandering Dutch on YouTube, please do. Please do. Does some good things for indie games and spotlights there.
Mm-hmm.
Logan, I don't know if you caught this when it happened or in the article or our notes after we kind of set it up, but Aaron Greenberg put out a tweet talking about just having had a meeting with Hellblade's team about the marketing and spotlighting Hellblade 2 going forward. And this caught me weirdly. I don't know how I feel about it, because in this tweet, he talked about how they're going to optimize Hellblade 2's marketing leading up to launch. They have fun and creative campaigns planned for a global media campaign, a cinema launch program, out-of-home advertising, brand partnerships, a special activation from Iceland, which means, that's where a lot of this stuff takes place. I don't know how I felt about this one, because the game just went up for pre-order. Ninja Theory's big deal. This is a pillar title, but it feels like, this game is 3 weeks out, roughly 3 to 4 weeks out. Content creators, to my knowledge, influencers do not have it. I don't have it. I don't think IGN has it, and I would have expected them to get it next week, and then creators 2 weeks after, a week after. But it feels like it's a short-term, small thing when it would have been a long-term thing. And so I don't know if am I in the minority? You don't seem bothered. You're telling me to.
This is perfect. This is absolutely too. 3 weeks is like the perfect marketing time span. You blast for 3 weeks. They've got global paid media campaigns, so that's nice. They'll be having ads all over the place. Cinema launch program, which is something that Sony does really, really well on. They show their games in cinemas during like the previews and stuff, and then they show their giant freaking ugly console like on the giant cinema screen. You have to sit there and stare at this real life sized version of a PS5 while you're waiting for a movie. That's brilliant that they're going to be doing that. Out of home advertising, no clue what that's going to be. Brand partnerships, perfect. That means they're going to be doing like merchandise and stuff like that for Senua. Who knows? We could get like some Nikes that look like they're from the game. Could be anything. Special activation from Iceland. I have no clue what that is, but if it's like a drone show or something like that, I'm there for it. 3 weeks is like perfect. Like just blast this game for 3 solid weeks and you're good. We don't need to know, like the story is going to be the thing that everyone goes in for. That's the thing that's going to matter the most. We know that they worked on the combat, and that's good because it probably needed it. But the story with Senua is the thing that everyone is really curious about. You can't really talk much about that. You can't really like show too much of that because it's going to be something that people want to experience on their own. So the best thing you can do is truncate all of that thing that most people are like, we should have been hearing about Hellblade for months now. It's like, no, people get sick of that. Keep it short, keep it tight. Let people like enjoy it during that lead up to the actual pre-order launch time frame.
I get the 3 week thing. I really do. I'm excited for it. I have so many questions about where Hellblade is going to stand next to the biggest Xbox releases, because this is the game that the Series X was marketed under. This is the game that the Series X and the Xbox fans have been pointing to for a long time. And we've learned in the last 6 months that this is not meant to be the God of War competitor, which surprised me at the time, but I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. And I'm curious just what it is that we're asking Hellblade to do and to be. And the 3 week blitz does make sense. I like it. I'm hopeful for it. And I'm going to bring in a friend of mine, someone whose show I watch every Saturday morning, Logan, to help talk about it with us.
Am I looking okay? Do I look all right?
You look okay.
I want to look okay.
You look all right.
Hi.
I can't say we're gaming royalty here. Mr. K Asante joining us to talk shop. Hello, sir.
Good
at that.
afternoon, man. Thank you for having me here. This is amazing. This is awesome. Thank you. I appreciate being here.
I'm honored you were able to show up. Yeah, that is some Super Mario 3 drip. That's dope. I'm honored that you
the greatest
are here.
game ever.
Oh my god. Thank you. Someone who understands that it's better than Super Mario Brothers. Oh my god, I got the tattoo on my back. I can't wait. Sorry.
I am in the Super Mario 3 is better than Super Mario Brothers camp. I am in that camp.
This is a safe place.
I will tell you though, my son who is 5, who is like playing constantly, will tell you Super Mario Wonders is the greatest game ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I still haven't played that, man, dude. I still need to.
It's amazing.
Actually, is it really good?
Oh, it's like for me, this will be the GOAT. But I see him becoming a gray beard like me eventually, and going, "Let me tell you about Super Mario Wonders." It is
interesting.
Father, when you told me about Super Mario Brothers 3, I thought to you, "There's no way this game could ever be truncated." Super Mario Wonder has been that game, Father.
Oh yeah, I will see people wearing these shirts with Super Mario Wonder on it when I am like, in a wheelchair, because that game is something else. It really is. It's something else. Yeah.
Super Mario Wonder is the best, and you're like amateurs.
These children. What are you talking about?
That's right. That's right. If any of my mods in chat can put a link to Asante's show, that would be appreciated. His channel, please. That'd be awesome. So, Asante, you came into a Hellblade 2 discussion, and
I was listening to a little bit of it. Yes.
Okay, good. I want to know for you where this game stands in the Xbox pantheon. Like, what is it supposed to be? What should it be? And is 3 weeks the right amount of marketing? Because Logan is swaying me that 3 weeks is a good amount. What do you think?
So I've actually been having that similar conversation as well. And I've been not cautioning people, but setting expectations, calibrating expectations accordingly. Like if you are a Hellblade player, you know what you're getting into. But because it's now being pushed by Microsoft and it's really big and it's getting all that splashy marketing and all this potential, people might be getting the wrong idea. Like I equate it to movies, right? It's an intense film that once you see, you may not want to see again. But it'll be one of the movies that you'll go, wow, that's amazing that I saw it, right? I equate it to like Schindler's List or some other film of intense. It's intense, right? And when you're done, you're just like, wow, I needed to see that. I may not watch that every weekend though, because it deals with some serious subject matter. It's not as 4-quadrant as the marketing may lead you to believe, right? But I do think it's amazing that these are allowed to live next to your Call of Duties and your power fantasies and all of that. So I always tell people to calibrate their thinking on that. It's in Game Pass, as you would expect. So maybe replay Hellblade 1 to remind yourself that this is not going to be a fun experience. As you recall, you're going to feel a little sweaty. You might decide to play this in two sittings because it gets to you. It's kind of an intense thing, right? And that may not be for everyone. Now, on the topic of marketing, I think this is hopefully Bethesda rubbing off on Microsoft because they are masters of that marketing wheel, right? You didn't hear about Fallout 4 until it was literally done, and then there was like less than 6 months of marketing, and bam, it was in front of you. Blitz after blitz. Like that's perfect, right? The thing that I think Microsoft has done in the past that maybe has garnered a little bit of criticism is that they maybe lead it on a little too long, right? We were listening to Starfield marketing for a while. They marketed right until they delayed it for another year. You know what I mean? Whereas in this instance, it looks like they're going to make sure they have something, it's ready to go, and then they're going to hit you over the head with it for like 3 weeks, and then you're going to be able to play it. I think if they're able to thread that needle, it'll be perfect, right? And I'm hoping, and that used to be what Bethesda was very good at, right? They show you the product, they blitz, commercials, ads everywhere, and then it's in your hands in short succession. I'm hoping that's how it works out successfully for the Hellblade as well. And I for one, I'm super excited for it. I'm still due to replay Hellblade 1 in VR. Yes, I'm playing it in VR because there is a VR version on Steam. So I'm going to play I'm going to replay Hellblade. It's an intense experience.
Good luck with that blind zone.
Yes, it's an intense experience, but I'm going to try it. and then after that, I'm going to be ready and willing to go to Hellblade 2. So yeah, I'm excited to see what it does. But to your point, you know, how it will fall in the pantheon of Xbox will be very interesting to see, you know.
Does it, and this is for both of you, if either of you have strong feelings, jump in immediately. Does Hellblade 2 sell consoles?
Oh, I don't know.
I think
if it
Hellblade
sells
2 sells Hellblade 2.
Okay. What
I
do
think
you mean
Hellblade
by
2
that?
sells Hellblade 2. Because it's I understand the question, and it's an interesting question, but the reason why it's difficult to answer it in that way is because I feel like that is a paradigm that has been set by the market leader for as long as it has been, right? Which is a means to an end. You buy my box, I sell you my games, right? You'll buy the box, that's where you get the games. You don't buy the box, you don't get the games. So it's always about, hey, this has led me to buy the box because it was so good. The person who's actually offering that game does not have that paradigm as tightly as PlayStation does, right? It's not a you buy my box, you sell my game, I sell you my game. It's if you don't have any way of getting in and you want a box, here's one for you. Or maybe you have a PC, here's the same game for you. Or maybe you want to play it on the cloud, here's a game for you. So because of that direct line of you buy my box, I sell you my game may not be as apt here, right? That may be why that's not necessarily the same through line as it was. I mean, if it was on PlayStation, I guarantee you it would, right? Because they are about the you buy my box, I sell you my game, right? And even though they're dipping their toes in the PC waters these days, right? It's not necessarily as full bore as Xbox has and continues to. So they will make sure they let you know you want the game, here's the box, right? Whereas on Xbox, it's here's the game, you want the game Pass or Game Pass PC or Game Pass Cloud, or you can probably buy it on Steam eventually. Or we'll say the quiet stuff out loud, and eventually it might be on other platforms. Who knows, right? In a world where they care about the game itself, it'll get to shine more, which I think it deserves to shine more, but it may not necessarily move the units as in the box that's under your TV.
So that is an interesting concept because I'm looking at different comments here in our chat. Split End was like, no, it's not going to sell. Matt Valdez says he just finished Hellblade and it was great and it looks fantastic on PC as well. Obviously, the game's available there and you have a VR option like you were talking about, which is great. Nissa Howard saying they're going to play Hellblade 2 on their Asus ROG Ally, which I would not expect. Like to me, that's a big screen game, put it up there. I would not expect it to be there, but I mean, like,
it's an option.
It's an option, and my boy Logan is not a horror person, and intensity may not be the best thing. So maybe playing on a smaller screen gives a bit more comfort.
Yeah, you know? I am a baby. Yes.
No! Please stop that! Don't you dare! I played. What did I play? I played Resident Evil 7, I think it was, in VR. That cured me of horror games for a long time. Yeah. Nope.
Okay.
I don't do it.
So I think that
good to see Ainsley Bowden, by the way.
2.
Hey,
I'm so glad he's here. It's nice to know that the nurses woke him up for this one.
You're old, Ains.
Hey man, the gray beards are in the building. Do not do
that. I'm with you. It's happening. It's just hidden because of the lighting.
I don't have any gray. I'm so good. I don't have anything to worry about, so I don't have to no, I think Hellblade 2 is going to be an Alan Wake 2, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think it will hit strong for the fans of games who love like experiences that are like like you're talking about, like those movies that you can only watch once. Like Fight Club is in that like that thing for me. Like I can watch Fight Club maybe once every 10, 15 years. And I'm like, it's a good movie, but it is an intense movie.
I can quote you that movie word for word.
You're
word
weird.
For word.
You're also weird. So no, but like that is, it is one of those things where I don't think it's going to sell consoles. I think that folks will most definitely give Game Pass like a month or two to dive in to get that experience if the hype is big enough, which is why I think these 3 weeks are so important. Because I really think that is like the sweet spot, like, and it's coming in right before like all the big announcements. So it is going to be the Breath of the Wild that was, or no, what was it? Tears of the Kingdom last year for us, right before we have our kind of video game Christmas. And I'm thinking that's will be enough to get people like excited to dive into it, try it out, especially for a lot of people that don't have access to it. A month of Game Pass to get Hellblade and Hellblade 2.
Yep.
Like, that's great. Like, they should even do like a special kind of Game Pass, like, you know, first time you sign up, you get like the first month for $1, and the second month, you know, give people a way to get into Game Pass easily when this game goes live.
So do you think
it's an ecosystem mover? I agree with that. Yeah.
So the idea is that we are we going to sell Game Pass subs here? Are we going to see that number kick up?
I think so. Now, how long it sustains, right? It'll depend on after that month lasts, because it's only an 8-hour game or whatever. How long it sustains, who knows? But I think if you're talking that through line of sell my box, it's more an ecosystem mover. You know, sign up for Game Pass, try it out, see how you feel. You know, just like it kind of did with Starfield. There was a bit of a bump there, even though Starfield also made numbers, right? But there was a bit of a bump there for Starfield, you know, and then of course the all that stuff led to it cratering. I, for one, still think Starfield is amazing. I have 60 days in Starfield, and I will go back to it. Yes, I love that game. I think the game is amazing. Yes.
So hear me out. Hellblade 2 comes out on the 21st of May. That's like 2 good solid weeks of people talking about Hellblade with a 3-week kind of like promo period before we get to the Xbox showcase. That is like the perfect like conversation time frame to be able to be like, let's talk about how great Hellblade is, and then boom, right after you've got the showcase where they can be like, before your month is up, here's all the great content that we've got in store for you for the rest of this year and into next. Yep.
I agree. It's kind of like what was it? Netflix started doing this thing where they almost do their own E3, like where they show you the new content coming for the year, and every year you are now expecting to see what's coming the year after. So as soon as they're done with the last show you saw from their last one, there's a new show to show you what's coming up, the year ahead. They should get, I'm hoping Microsoft gets into that same cadence. It's not about, the dog and pony show, as they say, who won E3, who won this. It's just about showing your people what else they can look forward to the year after and the year after. And right when Hellblade drops, and right when that conversation dies down, is the June showcase. So excellent. I'm looking forward to it.
Asante, we talked about the June showcase at the top of the show, and I think you were still podcasting then. For me, it's Gears of War that I really want to see that's there. I don't anticipate seeing Perfect Dark or State of Decay or even South by Midnight. I don't anticipate. Everwild, I don't think is even a thing at this point. Is there something that you want to see, that you expect to see, and there's something that you're like, no, that's not going to be there? Do you have any like 10 polls in your mind about stuff that you have to know about?
So 2 things. One that I'm going 10 toes down will be there. Perfect Dark. It will be there. 10 toes down, ladies and gentlemen. I am 10 toes down. No, don't sloth me. This is nothing beyond. It's just my feelings on it, because it's been in the zeitgeist for a while now. I expect to see it there. I will be genuinely disappointed if I don't see it there. I expect to see it there.
Okay.
That's my 10 toes down one.
Okay. In what state? Cinematic trailer, gameplay, like another teaser?
I mean, I expect to see some gameplay. Now, how they stitch it into cinematics, that's the devil that's in the details, right? But I expect to see some gameplay, even if it's a small, teeny tiny snippet. I mean, we saw gameplay in Fable, but you got to kind of squint to see it, but it's there. You know what I mean? So I expect it to be more than what we've seen of Perfect Dark right now, which is just straight up cinematics. I expect to see some Perfect Dark there. Some Perfect Dark there. If I don't, I will be genuinely disappointed. So there's that. The one that I want to see, that I probably won't see, but damn it, I need to see it. I am the biggest Halo fan on earth, but I don't play the multiplayer.
Okay.
I have played that campaign more times than most. The Halo Master Chief Collection, I have played that campaign more than most. I need to see a campaign. I don't care if I see Master Chief in it. One of my favorite campaigns ever is ODST. I need to see a campaign in the Haloverse. Even if it's 8 hours, a small little thing in the Haloverse. I need to see that. Do I have faith that it will be there? But I just want to see that. That would make me happy. That would make me so happy. I'm waiting for it because you've heard me say it facetiously on many shows. To me, Halo is dead until we get another campaign.
It's almost like he's been here the whole time and knows exactly what I've been saying, Luke.
I'm not rooting against it. I love Halo. Obviously, I got my Halo and Gears stuff right there. But I mean, didn't they say they're done?
Of course. Gears, of course. You know, all that. I want to see Perfect Dark and some kind of Halo. Doesn't have to be Infinite, right? I know they say they're done with Infinite. I get that. But I want to see some kind of Halo. Some kind of Halo. Please. I have no confidence that it will be there, but I wish it was. I want it to be.
Yeah.
I want to see State of Decay 3, which I don't think is happening. I'd love to see Halo. Don't think that's happening. I think you're getting Gears of War. I think you're getting a Fable update. And then it's what do you got this year? It's a lot of Indiana Jones and stuff. Contraband, man. I want some questions answered. That's all. I want some questions answered. What is South by Midnight? What is Clockwork Revolution? What is their scope? You know? What is their scope? Do you get
South of Midnight looks super excellent, man. It looks intriguing. I'm so excited to see what that actually turns into. You know, it looks super interesting. It looks like something that'd be right up my alley. But again, it's all just cutscenes right now, right? It wasn't expertly crafted, but you know, I think it would be success if we see after this show we have new things to talk about rather than updates only to what we've been pining for so long, right? It's time to move the ball.
If questions are answered, I'm okay with updates. I'm not okay with an update if there's nothing answered. Like if it's just a teaser for the next Clockwork Revolution or a teaser for Avowed or a teaser for everyone. I don't want that. I don't need that. You tell me what's happening, where my dollars are going, where my time is going in the near future, to your point, a year out, then I'm okay because I know Xbox has a baller fall. And it doesn't matter if it's multi-platform, if it's Xbox, fine. Don't care. Don't care. I know we've got something good in the short term. What's my medium term look like?
Yes, I want to leave this show knowing some things about what 2025 looks like because 2024 is all but solidified at this point, right? Show me what's beyond 2024, and by that I mean give me something new to be excited about, right? Where is the next flight sim update coming out? Because I for one love that flight sim. I want to see the update. They've teased it. Don't tell me it's coming out in 2025 because it's called 2024. So it's coming out this year. So tease it. Show me more of that. You know what I mean? Let's move past the teases of last year and move on to the teases of 2025.
Cheeseworks in chat saying he hopes that Forza Horizon 6 is making an appearance. I don't see Forza Horizon 6 happening because we went 4 or 5, then we did Motorsport. And in Playground, who does Horizon, they're probably all hands on deck, teams 1 and 2, getting Fable ready to go. I would think, you know, and not dissing team 1 or team 2 or anything. I'm just saying, if you're on crunch, if you're getting ready to launch, don't you put your resources towards that? Because they told me that was gameplay. I don't know where the gameplay was in that trailer, and I'm not dunking on it. I just didn't see it. I don't know where my prompts were and what was happening, and I don't know what that game really is. I don't know.
No, I don't disagree with you. I don't. And considering that this is something completely new from the studio that we know was great at racing games, I would think it'd be all hands on deck, making sure this thing goes off without a hitch. So I'd be okay with them letting Forza Horizon sit for a while, only to then show up much later in Japan. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I would love it. I would love it.
Yeah.
We still have not got that Japan racing game. It's not like where people are like, we really need Assassin's Creed to be a samurai game. No, you don't. You've got 14 samurai games now. You needed it 10 years ago.
You want the Assassin's Creed in Japan? I have a game for you. It's called Ghost of Tsushima. Go play it. It's amazing.
It's on PC, right?
Amazing.
It's so
good.
good.
I bought it early on. I am counting the moments till it's on PC, sir. My ultra wide is going to be lovely. It's amazing. I can't wait to replay that game. Oh yeah,
I just started a new game.
It's my favorite PlayStation franchise. It's my favorite. Like, compared to all of them, it's amazing. Yes.
Ghost of Tsushima is so good that people saw, what was the recent one, Rise of Ronin? They were like, nah.
No,
and that's not a bad game.
No.
Yep.
Rise of Ronin got me to start Ghost of Tsushima again because I was like, oh yeah, I remember how amazing Ghost of Tsushima is. Like,
it is.
Go back
and it has a great multiplayer no one plays. Like, it has a great multiplayer. Yes.
The asymmetrical gameplay is fantastic.
I love that everybody wanted Assassin's Creed in Japan. And then they just made a bunch of other people just like, oh, okay, we'll make it. We got you.
Yep.
Got you
Everybody
covered.
realized
it's too late.
Yeah. That's fine though.
It's too late. So I look at all these showcases and I feel like I just want to know short and medium term. Don't give me 10 years out. Don't give me 6 years out. Don't give me 3 years out. I want to know 1 and 2.
That becomes problematic as well. Yes. Don't give me the cutscene or the JPEG that then has me pining for 5 years. We don't need to see that. Show me something I'll be playing in 6 months to a year.
We've seen how that backfired right now for Fallout and Bethesda. Like, everyone knows Elder Scrolls 6 is the next thing after Starfield, and everyone's like, that's not what I want. I want Fallout. Can we just do a Fallout? And now Bethesda's like, yeah, we can do a Fallout, right, Phil? We got a team somewhere.
Help us.
Obsidian's like, we're
busy making our own stuff.
We're doing our own. Have fun.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so I don't know how much time you have, Asante, but I do want to ask you this question, at least until you have to go. Clint's asking, do we see a new Xbox upgrade? You are a tech-minded person. Side note, his Monday night show is just tech-based. I don't understand any of it, but it's really enjoyable.
Thank you.
But do you, and then this is for you, do you see a tech upgrade for an Xbox happening this generation?
If we don't hear them talk of some kind of hardware, now I'm gonna hedge my bets like Microsoft hedges their bets. If we don't hear some kind of hardware, I'd be surprised. But is it the kind of hardware we want to see? Is it the kind of conversation we want to see? That remains to be seen. You know, Sarah Bond spoke about potentially talking about it in June, right? We've seen dribs and drabs of a discless Series S. I hope that's not all we see, because if you're gonna make it discless, you might have make it shorter. And they didn't make a cube out of it. It would have been cool if it was a cube, and it's not a cube. It's still a rectangle. If you made it a cube, I would have bought it just because it's a cube. Anyway, but that's neither here nor there. But but you may see that. You may see. I hear rumor and speculation of controllers and things that are maybe in the ether. But I want to see that future talk of, that UI update, that change of maybe that hybrid console / handheld thing. Maybe. I don't think we see that. I don't. I have always advocated for. I'm sure, Luke, you've been following this for a long time as well. They used to change UI, the UI of the console, even mid-gen, right? So out of nowhere, your console turns into something completely different. I loved those things. I was part of the preview program. It used to be, sending feedback constantly, and then it drops, and it's amazing. And now all of a sudden, your old hardware turns into this new thing that has new spit shine on it. And it looks like since the Xbox One, they've just been like, this is our UI, and they change only marginal small things on the edges, but it's still the same UI, right? And the criticism that I heard that I thought was valid is, you don't buy a brand new car for the same infotainment system, right? You want something new, shiny to see when you get there, and it kind of took away from the X a little bit. Give us a UI update, right? Change it up, because we all hear them talking about the Xbox Anywhere future, moving in that unified framework future. Start the small ball rolling now, right? You've heard me say on many a show that I think that eventually the ROG Ally and all these other handhelds will have an option for a UI that is very Xbox-like, because it's in Microsoft's best interest to unify that so that they can basically be Xbox everywhere. Start that today, right? Maybe, hey, this fall, this Christmas, you can be part of the flighting for the new UI element. I don't think you necessarily see, hey, here's our handheld. I don't think so, but start moving in that direction. I would love to see that. That would be amazing, right? That would show us that they are serious about that, right? Yes, the paradigm beneath the feet are changing. Graybeards and horseshoe makers are sad everywhere because the fight is no longer a fight. They've moved on, right? But there's a reason to still be here, whether it's not for exclusives or not. I like, as a guy who's played games on all these various platforms for as long as I can remember, I end up gravitating towards one platform versus another because beyond the games, some of these ecosystems, let's not even talk about the games, the ecosystems themselves are better than others, right? These guys are trying to tell you that you don't need to be there specifically for the games. You're there because the ecosystem beyond the games is great. So show us some of that, right? Show us why, even though you can play it everywhere else, you still want to play it here, right? I would so be excited to see that.
I tend to agree with that one. Now, Logan, what's your take on that?
I think it's funny because I was watching the Twitter space yesterday it wasn't yesterday. It was this week. There was an update that PlayStation had posted about like some UI changes that they're doing to the OS. And I was going through the comments because I was genuinely curious. I was like, I enjoy when they do these kind of like refreshes and they change some stuff. Every single comment on that post was like, when are we getting dynamic themes? When are we going to get it? It was like dynamic themes. Then I look over at Xbox and everyone's like, we're getting an update. We're going to be able to have our key art show on the background without having to have the standard default background. It's going to be great. And I'm like, I'm watching like both sides of everyone's like, the grass is greener on the other side. Why can't we have the green grass? It's not fair. And it's so it was cracking me up. But I 100% would love to see what a new refresh on the OS would be like for Xbox. But I genuinely do enjoy the Xbox OS to a fair degree. I will say that there's pros and cons for both. I hate the little whatever the little control center is thing that pops up on PS5 is. I hate that that's there because I have to hit a button to actually bring up half of the features that I want. Whereas with Xbox, it's all at the top and I just go up to the top. But that doesn't mean that stuff doesn't stagnate. So I don't think we're going to see hardware stuff for the showcase because I think the showcase is just going to be software. And I think that's exactly what it should be. But I do think that come Christmas time, it would be kind of cool to see this digital Series X that they've been, leaks have come out about. It would be cool to see like what kind of new controller could they do with haptics, with back buttons. I just want back buttons standard on every controller. I'm so sick of having to pay premium prices for back buttons. That should be an accessibility feature that's just built into all controllers. So something like that would be fantastic as well too. I don't know if we're going to be getting any upgraded hardware though.
Yep, I agree.
I have to think that you see a controller at this showcase extended. I feel like Paris Lily is the guy that's going to be like, hey, and here's a new controller, like something like that. But it's not like a hardware refresh or anything.
Yeah.
That's what I anticipate.
I agree as well. Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Wandering Dutch, who is here joining us in chat. What's up, man? How are you?
Not bad. Yourselves? How's it going?
Can't complain. I do want to congratulate you in this quick moment. Congrats on an indie showcase. That was really cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I advocate people go watch it. If you haven't had a chance to see it, it's still out there. Go watch it. A lot of crazy, awesome content in there. And don't do it like last year where they go, oh, this thing on the Xbox show was amazing. Yeah, Dutch had that first. Go watch it now before Xbox shows it to you again. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Asante, you are on Hard Out, and so I just wanted to thank you for stopping and saying hello because I watch your morning show, and so it was cool to see you. Just
appreciate it. Yes,
let people know where to find you, my friend.
So thank you. I keep you guys in the rotation. You guys are on Monday mornings when I'm driving into work. I'm always listening. I appreciate you guys. It's really cool to get to be on the air with you guys. It's pretty great. You can find me usually Saturday mornings. Myself and the Everborn Saga, we do what we call PG-13 slander. We get on there and we talk about the games and all that stuff. And then of course, as Luke has mentioned, Monday night, myself and John Wolf do a more of a PC focused show, more handhelds. We answer tech questions. We do that kind of thing. So you can find that all on my YouTube channel. As you can see on the screen here, TKO Asante on Xbox, PlayStation, all those places you find me. You follow me, I follow you back, and DMs are open if you want to have a chat. Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
It was a pleasure to have you, man. Thank you for jumping in. It was really cool to see you.
I'll be watching in the background, but the fam is home and I got to go do dad work.
Go be the dad, man. You're awesome. You're awesome. Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Yep. Dutch, thank you for being here, especially on short notice. I just pinged and hope that I get you. I do want to point people towards that showcase that you did. Tell people where you can find that.
Yeah, certainly. So you can find the showcase on my channel, which is Wandering Dutch on YouTube. It is the Community Indie Showcase. So it is a community-created showcase designed by us and for the community. 74 games, 2 hours and 25 minutes. Aaron Greenberg as guest and many awesome content creators. So, yes.
Definitely a lot of Xbox love there to get Aaron Greenberg there, especially on his schedule. You told me privately he was joining from Japan. Is that right?
Yeah, he was in Japan. He was in Japan getting games as he sent me that across. He did it from the Xbox studio last year, and he did a nice full studio one. So he apologized this year and said, "Sorry, I'm in Japan currently, so it'll have to be remote."
Very cool. That's so cool. I have to ask, as you're getting these games in for showcases, and as exciting as that is, do you have to balance like their time where they're going to be showcased? Are they talking to IGN or to Xbox or to EA, to whomever to do various showcases? Are you having to like battle that and to get your slot?
Yeah, absolutely, including like a few of them which are either have just released their game or just releasing their game. Like that's a hard balance. If they've just released it, they're usually like knee deep in bug fixing and patches and things like that, or the next update. And if they're just about to release their game, it's the run up to and they're doing all the marketing and things like that. So it's hard to balance it. And not so much, the good thing about indies is they want their game to be shown like as many places as can physically be. So they'll like a lot of them. I had a couple of Dutch PR guys and European PR guys like reach out even in Discord that added me on Discord specifically, and it was like, "I see you're doing an indie showcase. Can we get our games in here?" I'll say, "Yeah, like fire for you across, and I'll have a look." But I've got to balance them as well because otherwise I would have like 300 games to show. So I've got to have a nice blend of, okay, so we'll do, at the beginning this year, we started off with an Out Now section, which had like 5-6 games of Out Now, like just released. And then the rest of it was like coming soon or early in development or things like that. So we had to blend it nicely this year because otherwise we would have been there all week watching the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turns into one of those humble bundles that you don't expect. You're just like, I spent $15, but now I have 400 games I need to add to Steam. This is hard.
Yeah, it's quite mad.
Well, here's an unfair question I always ask of all the developers I interview after the fact. Are you happy with it? Were you happy with it?
I'm never always 100% happy. There's always something that I could improve upon, whether it be down to audio or otherwise. So this year I got like wireless lavaliers to do like the audio from, and I wasn't quite happy with the output. No matter how much I was playing around and trying to master the sound, it just didn't sound right. So that will be wanting to change. I think we had more reveals last year than we did this year, so I want to kind of increase that next year as well and do more kind of new reveals. But there's always, the one thing about this is we always try to improve. So we spent money on it this year. Like last year, it was just everything how we could, and it was all me doing the design and things. So this year, I spent money on it and got Sean LeBrie to do all the art and like animated things for us. And we'll be doing the same next year. We'll be kind of trying to improve everything again, whether that be sound quality or video quality or whatever it is. So yeah, it's never always happy. There's always something I can improve on, and that's what I want to try and do.
So why'd you do it? Like, what was it that drove you to say, I want to put together a showcase? Because we all love it, but you signed yourself up for hours and hours of work in order to do this.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it's quite. It is, to be honest, it's quite simple, and it sounds like slander against others. But when you were having now, there's 2 awesome community-created indie showcases. One is by 6-1 Indie, which is from Kyle and Kyle from a PS Trophy Room, which is awesome.
Kyle, by the way, the best host on the PS Trophy Room. The best host on the PS Trophy Room by far.
The non-racist one too. Yeah.
The talent over there, I gotta say.
But they've just started doing theirs as well. They've done a couple of their own community-created indie shows now, and they've done a fantastic job. Like, they've also got really high-quality production for theirs. So that's great. And again, it's on just a small channel that's come out of nowhere. They've created it from scratch, and they've made this awesome indie showcase. But it was likewise. It was probably, they had the same idea as probably we did, and I had to look at the indie scene and thought, the showcases for indies aren't actually justifying or giving a real true spotlight to indie games. Like, there's so many indie games out there, and there's really nowhere to show them. They get kind of slumped in every now and again with like the PC gamer show around around E3 period. They'll go into there sometimes, or maybe IGN will do one, or ID at Xbox do their Xbox showcase like they did the other week. And although they can be okay, I think they've certainly, IGN have improved this year compared to previous years. It's still more of a focus on, okay, well, here's loads of advertisements, and then we'll take a break. And why do they need to take a break on what is clearly a pre-produced show? Like, it's not a live show.
So many advertisements in the last one.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Like, just focus on the games. Like, everyone wants to give spotlights to indie games, but do it correctly. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think that they've had enough of a good spotlight indie games and indie creators. It's the hardest job in the world in terms of gaming. AAA, and I've seen another interview as well from Joe from Song of Iron the other day. After Song of Iron released, didn't do as successfully as he wanted to. Ended up, now he's working at another bigger AAA studio again. Mm-hmm. As well as creating Song of Iron 2, mm-hmm. in order to make sure he finishes that. But he said no, in terms of stress levels and the marketing and everything that comes behind it, like, it doesn't even compare. Like, indie developers are, like, being a solo indie developer specifically is so much more stressful and so much hard work. And it's really hard to kind of amplify what we do and what we've created for the community. Mm-hmm. So when we're speaking to these indie developers, they're like absolutely over the moon that would show it, even if it's like just on my 2,500 YouTube channel. Like, they're just over the moon that someone's going to tune in and see the game and listen to it and watch it, and maybe they'll get a few more wish lists and a few more purchases. Mm-hmm. And that's ultimately what they need. It's just another spotlight on them. And I just don't think, primarily for me, it was just saying that none of the shows for indies were doing a good enough job, and they weren't focusing on the games, which is what we want to see. It was more just about the personalities or the advertisements, and I just thought, nope, enough's enough. I'm going to try and create something where it focuses solely on the games from the creators and from the community.
Well, for XEP, like, we do a ton of indie developer interviews. We really try to do that, but the undertaking of just one or two of those is difficult. It's hard. Yeah. And to see a showcase put together by a content creator, an enthusiast, and somebody who is having to compete with the big times, whether it's IGN or Xbox proper themselves, it was really inspiring, I think. And I hope more people do check out your showcase and support those indie devs. It has been showcase talk all episode, it feels like. Xbox just announced their showcase coming up this June 9th, I should say. Do you have any hopes, desperations, things you really want to see?
See, I'm kind of good. So beforehand, Hellblade's my biggest game anyway. So before that showcase comes out, I will have already played and finished Hellblade, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest one for that show is just ultimately to see full, like maybe it's even a side quest level, whatever it is, just an in-play, in-motion Fable demonstration.
Mm-hmm.
Not like cut together of here's a gameplay mixed in with the cinematic in-engine, so you don't know the difference. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, I would rather see the thing in motion so I can go, right, that's Fable. That's what we're playing. And I think ultimately, as you alluded to before, we didn't see Fable in motion last time, or we might have saw glimpses here and there, but it wasn't something that you could realistically say, okay, that's me playing the game. And ultimately, when you see a gameplay demonstration, you want to be able to say, okay, that's me. If I'm playing the game, that's what we'll be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I want. I want Fable primarily. I want the actual gameplay chunk there where it feels like, okay, that's what we're playing and that's how we're playing this game. And fingers crossed with maybe the release window. I think that could be 25. It should be 25.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, I really want to see what State of Decay 3 is. I want to see what the Coalition's help with State of Decay 3 has done.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to say hats off to the team for what they've managed to do with State of Decay 2 and the level that they've brought that up to over its development cycle and its release. It started off, it didn't have a great release, let's be honest. It was terrible network issues, really buggy, caused a lot of problems. It actually, the network and the lagging issues was one of the reasons I dropped off the game at the start anyway. So trying to play with friends and you'd get attacked by invisible zombies, like 9 times out of 10, you'd never be able to do anything about it. You'd zoom across the map where they were going somewhere else. But now it's in like an unbelievable state. They had the whole super high res pack that they put on it, the Series X enhancements, and then they've got all of the different add-ons and map packs and horde modes and you name it. So fantastic jobs bring that up to where it is now. It's in a really good place, but I'm looking forward to seeing what angle they've taken the third iteration. Have they went more along the lines of a potential co-op version of maybe a Days Gone-esque game where it's a little bit more survival-esque in that sense, where it's story-driven? Or are they sticking to just do your own thing in this big open world? That'll be very interesting to see. Those two are my 2 key ones, to be honest. Everything else is more just let's wait and see. I think State of Decay 2. I don't mind Gears. Don't get us wrong. I think it's a bit of dumb fun playing Gears, but it's not it's not super high on the priority list.
I look at it; it's just so beautiful.
You goof. You're simping for Gears so hard.
I love Gears. Gears is what got me into Xbox, man. Oh, there it is.
For me too.
I had that controller for a little while, Dutch.
Yes.
I had that controller for a bit. Money got tight. There was a window of time, and I had to sell my whole Gears collection. I had all the NECA figures and everything. That was years ago, like long ago. But I did have to do that to get by at one point. So I'm missing a bunch of my collectibles. But I recovered well. I like this thing. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So
Yes, indeed. I do think, I do think we could potentially hear about Forza Horizon. I know I heard earlier on you were thinking everyone's going to be hands on deck, but they do have a team working on Forza Horizon. How far along that is, who knows? And they do obviously have a separate team working on Fable. But they've done some really big hiring. Playground's one of the teams that haven't had any kind of reduction in staff sizes over the years, thankfully. But they've justified it. I mean, they've justified it because their games have been super successful, like always super successful. So them having 2 teams, being able to increase size, being able to continuously employ new people for different things, that's it's understandable why they're able to have a team that works on Fable and have a team that works on Forza Horizon. I think as well, the good thing about Forza Horizon now is it's almost kind of an autonomous process for them. They're that used to putting out these amazing games that they've got kind of this, and the engine in itself Even they were running on the last version of the Forza Tech engine before it got changed into the upgraded Forza Tech 2. And they blew the doors off it. And I think even still now, some aspects of Forza Horizon 5 are still well above what Forza Motorsport's doing, which is insane. So yeah, it's will we see that? It's a possibility. It's a possibility, but Forza Motorsport released last year, so did they give it a break this year and maybe show Forza Horizon 6 next year? It's gonna be a strange one this year, guys, because it's a big juggle. There's so many studios and so many projects and so many different games that we're seeing. We haven't even touched on Bethesda and outside of indie. What will they show? And then
you're talking that Fallout remaster. Do you see it? Do you not? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And then you're talking about ActiBliz, and everyone's like, yes, they've got the whole COD thing, but if they've mentioned Activision-Blizzard in the same breath as a regular showcase, and then the COD Direct, which is after it. So we know COD isn't in the main. We'll probably see like a tiny little teaser trailer saying watch after the show for the Direct. But then what else have they shown? So it's gonna be an interesting one. I think I'd be surprised if this wasn't one of the longest showcases to date. It's gonna have to be. It's gonna so yeah, it's really good. I was kind of surprised that we're not getting maybe a little bit longer of a direct for Avowed, which is also due at the end of this year. But maybe we do get a direct at another point.
I'm in the minority. You do? Okay, so Logan thinks we get a special show for Avowed. I don't think Avowed showcased well, and I think they've got a problem, and they're trying to figure out how to solve it.
I think you've got a problem.
I don't think I do. I don't think I'm the only one that thinks this. I know I'm in the minority on indie and on Shattered Space. But when it comes to Avowed, I don't know. I'm not dunking on it. I'm just saying it's like all of these. I hope they do well.
I know, but I think
wonder.
I think the problem here is that people are looking at Avowed and saying like this is not Elder Scrolls, and it's trying to be Elder Scrolls, and people have to get out of that mindset that it's Elder Scrolls, because it's not. It's just Obsidian's version of what an Elder Scrolls game would be, but the art direction, the characters, the world, everything like that, it's not Elder Scrolls. And I think once people disassociate Elder Scrolls from Avowed and see the art for what it is, and see like the final product, that's why I think we're going to get another showcase, is because they want to show.
It's a bit like the Outer Worlds, like that. Yes. That in itself stands apart, and it's got its own aesthetic. And I think as long as people think this is the Outer Worlds version of a Skyrim, then that's what, in terms of aesthetics, which is pretty much what it is. It's really vibrant, like really vibrant. Some parts are like gloomy, and then other parts are like unbelievably colourful and like popping out your eyes and things like that. But I like Avowed, but I didn't think the aesthetic would be uber realistic. I think, of course, the intro trailer didn't do them any favors that they created years ago for Avowed, because everyone automatically assumed it's going to be hyper realistic. But
it was no. I mean,
it's the first trailer, and then the second trailer that they put out, it didn't show well. I think the last one that they put out was fine. I think it looked great in terms of the combat and things. I think it looks interesting. I think the way the story is going to be interesting. It's probably going to be the same ballpark figure in terms of how time to beat it as Outer Worlds. I don't think it's going to be super long. I just hope it's because it's more of a fantasy RPG. It's got a few more side quests than the Outer Worlds did. I think Outer Worlds was relatively short in that sense. There wasn't actually that many side quests to do. And I hope that is one thing they've got. Maybe the time to beat's like 25 hours or something, but
which is perfect, I think. Yeah, I'm there for that.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
So no, that's another one I would love to see, but that's years away. Outer Worlds too, especially after seeing that first trailer. Like that was one of the best trailers I've ever seen for an introduction to the game.
They threw that together super quick. Like they weren't sure if they were going to be able to, but that thing, like they snapped it together and they were like, all right, it's not a thing, but there's a trailer.
Yeah. Such a good idea. Such a good idea.
Yeah.
It kind of mocked it all, and it stands true today as well. What they're saying.
Yeah.
That we haven't got a name. We don't know. We don't have a working title. We don't know when it's releasing. We don't even have a character. But there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and still we're talking about it and excited about it.
Yeah, it's Outer Worlds is. I mean, they had 2 really good DLCs. It's a really good game. It's not Bethesda, and I think if you get past the idea that Obsidian is its own entity, and while there's a lot of blood that's come from Bethesda. Mm-hmm. Those games are unique and beautiful in their own way, and definitely stand out to me as something that should be held up as like some of the top tier content that comes out from Xbox.
I think it will be. I think it truly will be, particularly as time goes on, because they've got a track record that is continuing to be successful. So I think. So
you agree that Avowed deserves to have a physical edition? Thank you.
I do not agree with that. No, I think if Hellblade doesn't, Avowed doesn't. But I want them both to. I just don't know what it's for. So.
Do you think we'll get a release date for Clockwork Revolution?
I hope so, and I hope it's in like January.
I hope so, but I hope Xbox makes use of Q1 in a way that they have not, because they've reserved it for. I think what did they do maybe it was last year or the year prior. They did like Age of Empires and some of their smaller PC outings. But I would love to see Q1 for Xbox be a big title.
Yeah.
Or be like when we know that Fallout remasters were a thing at one point, thanks to the FTC filings. Those are great times for that kind of stuff. Xbox has backloaded a lot of their titles this year, and whether that was intentional or just how it worked out isn't the point. As the consumer, time and money are finite for everybody, right? Very few people have all the monies and all the times to play all the things. And so it's important to diversify your catalog and your release schedule, your release window, because people have to make choices. And that's not a slight to quality of games. I think Titanfall is the common example there. Like, people had to make choices for time and monies, and sometimes that doesn't work out in the best game's favor or in the company's favor. But I actively remember them doing a disservice to, I think, Forza Horizon 5's DLC in favor of As Dusk Falls, I think was the indie title. They could have been marketing that. And I think that was a disappointment for me. I want them to give their titles. Don't eat your own lunch, I guess. That's not what I mean, but you know what I'm trying to say, I hope.
Yeah. Don't cannibalize your marketing.
There you go. That's a better way to say it. You said it like a professional. So I just want them to make use of more than just Q3, Q4. Yeah. To me, that's a worthy endeavor. So.
Absolutely. And judging by, I've seen a post on Twitter the other day as well, actually. I think I've forgotten who it was by, but they were kind of saying, can't wait to see more of South of Midnight. Compulsion kind of responded to that immediately and said, yeah, we've been cooking. So I don't know whether or not they'll be there as well, with a little bit more to see of the actual gameplay of South of Midnight, which would be nice if they managed to pull off the. I mean, we've seen how crazy Harold Halibut. God, that's a mouthful every time I say it. The indie game that was stop motion. If we kind of see just how well the AAA studio can pull off something of similar lines in South of Midnight, it'll be phenomenal to see what they kind of produce, because it's a very interesting approach to animation.
Yeah,
I think they need to build the characters, the story, and the world first before I start seeing gameplay, because I don't know what it is or why it's important, and I think that the best way to sell games is to get you sold on what the IP is for new IP, and then why the gameplay is going to be fun. But personal opinion. But I would hope that we'd get something from them, but I'm hoping that they kind of sell us a little bit more on the world first.
Yeah, I think Clockwork did that really well. I think the world selling on that was phenomenal. Like, I felt like that game was like
100%.
Was the third or fourth in its iteration. It felt so far along. I was like, okay, I can imagine playing this already. And the story and the way the world kind of changes and things, it's just, that was a really good trailer. But South of Midnight, I think it's unique as well as being the Deep South and being kind of voodoo and things like that, it's going to be a very interesting concept that I don't think we have seen in gaming for a while, if not ever, having a mixture of not just voodoo, but being in the Deep South as well and having that as part of the game. I think it'd be a great difference.
I agree, and I'm curious how they market that, and I really want to know what the gameplay of that game looks like. You know, like what are you truly doing? Because art can take a game a long ways, but I think Harold Halbert is a good example where the art was so impressive. It was a labor of love, and there's a wonderful story there, but it didn't click gameplay wise with the masses. Next to something like Tales of Kenzera, the art was amazing. It was a labor of love, but the gameplay had a connection, and as a result, I think Harold Halibut suffered. And so South by Midnight,
kind of feel for him a little bit, because you know that took 14 years.
Halibut took 14 years.
14 years.
Man,
I thought it was
wild.
like 5 or 6. Goodness gracious!
Oh,
I hate that for them then that it didn't do so well.
But it's one of them things as well, though. It's I can understand the concept, and it's really hard to hit it off well with what is essentially a point-and-click adventure these days. Outside of Monkey Island, there's not many of them going to stack up with the point-and-clicks these days, so it's quite a hard niche area of indie games to get into now.
It's true.
There's not many. Like we used to play them like forever when we were younger. Like back when we were younger, there was so many point-and-click adventures that you couldn't move them. But now it's few and far between at best, so it's kind of a lot of people just overlook it.
I think that genre,
yeah,
I think that genre needs to evolve the way, because I think Sea of Thieves really showed me that you can do a 3D world with a point and click adventure and have it still feel like a point and click adventure.
Yeah,
with the Monkey Island, the Legend of Monkey Island stuff. Like I think that they definitely need to kind of think about like outside the box when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that turns out too.
Agreed. Very good point. Very good point. Gentlemen, it is about that time for us to start wrapping up, but Dutch, you did grace us with your presence, and I felt very inclined to add some time onto the show. So I thank you. I'm going to start with you, my friend. Would you please let people know where to find you? Thank you for coming in, kind of just last minute hanging out with us. Let everyone know where to find you and what you've got in the hopper.
Yes. Thank you. No, thank you for the invite. I was free. I was just I was having a lazy day after a very busy week, so I just got myself sorted for a bit, jumped on for a short period, and I was listening to the show in the background as well when you came on, so that was good.
Thank you.
No, appreciate it. Appreciate the invite. It's nice to jump on a podcast I haven't been on before. For the first time, Xbox expansion pass. So thank you. But you can find me anywhere at Wandering Dutch, or Twitter now at Wandering Dutch X. And we have a podcast usually at the moment every Thursday, because topics are super light. So we're doubling up with Boxy doing the World of Gaming same day. So yes, every Thursday podcast, midweek mix up. And other than that, not too much going on, to be fair. I've had a night having a break after doing the indie showcase.
Yeah.
And then we build up for the very busy showcase period again in June and then August, going over to Gamescom. So I think June onwards will be super busy again. But just for now, podcasting. But yeah, thanks again, guys, for having us on.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Logan, my friend, what's going on with Sea of Thieves, with Keelhauled Podcasts? I let people know, of course, where they can find you, my friend.
Oh man, season 12 kicking off. It was really fun to jump back into Sea of Thieves. The throwing knife is a new weapon that I did not really anticipate loving as much as I do. Harpoons are it's still like the best thing in the game, like it just hands down. So I'll be talking more about the impact for Sea of Thieves and season 12 and what that's been like over on Keelhauled. So keep an eye out for that if you guys are interested in what's been going on there. Outside of that, just kind of dropping into other stuff. We got a code for a game yesterday that I'm looking forward to jumping into, so I'll probably have more thoughts and impressions about that for next week. Looking forward to jumping into it because it's it's one of those things where, like I was just talking about with point and click adventures, it's a game that we've played, but they're stepping outside the box and really thinking big about how you can actually, like, take some of these old, really good games and bring them to a newer audience that feels fresh and interesting.
Are you able to say the name of that one yet?
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to dig into the NDA about that, so I can't. I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm looking forward to talking about it next week for sure.
Gotcha. Very cool. Very cool. Well, guys, you can find me, of course, on all the socials at InsipidGhost, and of course, XEP. We are grateful to the channel members, the patrons, the people that came out, clicking like. If you're watching later on and you shared anywhere, thank you so much. I want to give a special shout out to Addy Zero, who dropped a $10 super chat today. We appreciate you. You guys are helping me get to LA so I can meet Logan and meet all these amazing people. So thank you guys for supporting XEP. That is going to be it from us. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Take care.